Hello and welcome to Flix and Chill with me, Luke. Today I have a very special guest on my show. Haley is here. So, Haley, why don't you please take it away and introduce yourself?
Hello there, Luke. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Haley. I'm a friend of, I think, a frequent guest on your show, Shane Kanto. He and I went to college together, and he's given me the opportunity to, branch out a little bit, chat with a couple different folks on their different podcasts, and it's
Hmm.
been a great time. So I'm really excited to get into some movie chat with you.
Hmm. Hmm.
I am a 32-year-old living in rural Pennsylvania, in the United States. That's the East Coast.
Hmm.
I lived in Boston for quite a few years, and I still work at an immigration law firm where I started there, but I scored a sweet remote job. Um,
Nice.
so I moved over from the legal function to the IT function, so now I can kind of be wherever I want. So I moved back to where I'm from,
Hmm.
where I could afford a house.
Hmm.
So like that's the millennial dream that we're trying to live through.
Yep.
Other than that, I've been, let's see. Yeah, I mean, I will say I'm not necessarily like a movie whiz. I'm
Hmm.
probably more of like, I
Hmm.
love movies and I will go out of my way to see things, but I would not say like most of the folks on the who are hosting these podcasts are at a level that I am not. So this probably anything I bring up today will be things that the average person's like, yeah, I've heard of that or I know about that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, so
Look,
we'll see how hot my takes can possibly be, but
all good. No, no, no. Look, first of all, a couple of points. Nothing wrong with being average or anything. Like, I'm also haven't seen all the movies. No,
hmm
like, I watch more movies than your average person, sure. But then,
hmm
in my circle, I'm the peasant who watches barely nothing compared to some of these guys. Like, especially
hmm
how many movies they log on, like Letterboxd and stuff. I'm like, how
hmm
the fuck do you manage to do this? Like, I've
I
like
can't tell you.
exactly, like me neither. And I watch a fuck ton of movies, like
Yeah.
metric fuck ton. But your second point about Shane, great guy. Uh, I'm on many of his podcasts because he's been on mine only once because that's the kind of like
Mm,
thing of this show. Like until I come up with something else, one person gets here only once and that's it. So, but no,
hmm
I talk to him often and he's a great guy. So shout out to Shane for linking us up. So thank you for that. And yeah, third of all, so you lived in Boston, now you're back in Pennsylvania.
hmm
So you have
Exactly.
all the benefits of working for Boston without actually living in Boston. Then.
Well, and to be clear, the salary is a little different. They
Mm-hmm.
know I live in Pennsylvania. I couldn't
Mm.
pull a fast one on them, but still, I mean,
So do you get it
it's a
adjusted based on where you live? Really?
yeah, this is an American system. They
Mm.
crunch the numbers. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this sort of like the world that I'm in, immigration, it's, more of an urban thing and just
Mm-hmm.
the fact that I can live like 10 minutes from my parents' place now
Mm-hmm.
and still work for the law firm I work for is very generous. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing just fine, all things considered. Like this is a small town and you know, like I said, we built a house. I'm not complaining.
That's
It would
good.
not have been possible with that money to even buy like a one-bedroom apartment in Boston, so it's just a
Mm-hmm.
very different world. But I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that, but this was
Mm-hmm.
the path we decided to go down, and I feel really good about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's quiet.
Yeah, so I know about one thing or a few things about America. One of
hmm
them is technically anybody can buy a house, but it depends if you want to move to middle of bumfuck nowhere. I always see
Yeah.
it as like, oh yeah, if you move to like Arkansas, let's say, there's a beautiful six-bedroom house that's for like $60,000, and then but the catch is well in a 1 hour radius of that house there's nothing. So like
Yeah.
yes, you can have that beautiful house, you can for relatively cheap, but you also need to live in Arkansas in the middle of bumfuck nowhere. And I'm like, yeah, this is. And then you have places like Boston, Los Angeles, New York, where even a small condo, like one bedroom apartment, here it would be one bedroom flat, would cost you arm and leg.
Yeah. Well, I think for many people in a similar position, what you really have to ask yourself is like, how much do you use what
Hmm.
your city is offering you. Because
Yeah.
what my husband and I realized is that, I mean, I love food, but I have a lot of like, I mean, look, we're in our 30s, our
Hmm.
stomachs are rebelling. Like, there's so many things we shouldn't eat anymore, like the
Hmm.
insanely spicy food, the stuff that's like, and that's fine for like every now and again, but really, like we were, going grocery shopping and cooking. We were pretty good about that, um, and we actually like cooking too. So
Hmm.
stuff like that, and like, we're not like huge concert people. It's not like we're constantly going to shows or doing things that, like, if you're like really into the nightlife or really
Hmm.
whatever, then yeah, like a city is giving you things, but we just weren't honestly taking advantage of what the city had. And it's not like, I mean, we lived there for 6 years. We had our fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so I think, you have to make that calculation of like
Hmm.
when you leave, like what really matters to you in life. And because we love cooking, like we still have access, I mean, not to every obscure ingredient that we might want now,
Hmm.
but nowadays there's you still have access to a lot of stuff. And
Hmm.
I think for us, like fresh ingredients is kind of important and living so close to so many farms. Pennsylvania is a very good place to get produce and like I mean, you don't even have to go to Whole Foods to get like local eggs. You go to like some dude who's got chickens.
Yes. Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, like it
Hmm.
it worked for us. I think there are plenty of people who are like, you are insane.
Hmm.
But you gotta know yourself.
Well, that's the thing, and also as I think you brought up a important point. I feel like nowadays, especially with everything being so expensive, cities
Mhm.
are for the young and unfortunately
Yeah.
rich.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
if you wanna, as you mentioned, if you wanna party, if you wanna do,
Hmm.
if you go to LA, you can explore all the different cuisines of the world. Like you can have the best like tacos or steaks or whatever the fuck,
Hmm.
right? Or sushi,
Hmm.
but for a very high price. And so yeah, like nowadays, like it's very hard to, the success stories of I came in to America and with $20 in my pocket and like just a dream. Yeah, now this would not have worked. I like, back in the day it was still hard, like, but
Hmm.
now this would be almost impossible. I would imagine. Like,
As someone
so
who works in immigration, I can confirm.
yes, see, and
You're
yeah,
not
you have
even
personal
getting the
experience.
lawyer fee.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that $20, no.
No,
You will
no.
at best get like a haggard pro bono person who's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
means well but does not have time to help you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And again, like all the love and respect that those people de absolutely deserve. Uh, but yeah, it is a different world.
I could imagine. I could imagine. So, besides obviously movies, hence why you're here. What makes Haley Haley? What are some of your likes, dislikes? Do you have any other? I would imagine that you must have more hobbies than just movies.
Oh yeah, actually, I would say hobbies like I love movies, but that those aren't my like
Primary hobby.
primary
Yeah.
passions. Yeah.
Mhm.
I do love cooking. I've been a vegetarian since I was 16, so like at this
Mhm.
point it's been a little over half of my life that I've been doing it.
Mhm.
And so cooking is a great joy for me. I'm a big tea person. Like I love tea. I need coffee at this point because I'm like addicted to it, but I love tea. So
Okay.
you can kind of see in the background here, I've got a bunch of teapots on my
Oh yeah.
shelf and
Very
um
cute. Very cute.
yeah, so I'm a reader, a tea
Mhm.
drinker,
Mhm.
a Prius driver. So I'm kind of a stereotype in like the liberal vegetarian who drives a Prius and drinks her like brings her own mug to the cafe, so I don't
Yeah.
use like a paper cup.
Very responsible then. You're so very responsible stereotype of person.
I, I try, but of course it's in today's world, it's tricky. I mean, I remember during COVID,
Hmm.
for a while you couldn't do it. So I
Same
almost
here.
like my
Yeah.
habit was I was really good about it and then like COVID happened and to this day some places are a little weird, like if you bring your own thing.
Yep. Yep.
And I understand that, but I'm
Hmm.
also like, okay, I just don't at least don't put a lid on it. Like I don't need this lid.
Yeah, yeah. No, like same here. By the way, like my used to be girlfriend, now wife, bought me these like this beautiful mug. So I
Hmm.
would when I had my previous job, I would be up, driving around, so I would get a coffee or whatever, and
Hmm.
yeah, I would always bring my nice glass mug everywhere I would go. I would wash it, in the evening, all that,
Hmm.
prepare it for next day, and then COVID happened, and you saw on all the coffee shops, like unfortunately we cannot accept it right now because of COVID-19 and all that. And
Hmm.
yeah, ever since the pandemic, it's kind of been weird because I moved to a different job, so I'm not out and about as much. And when
Yep.
I am, I usually forget it.
Right.
And we have quite a
Yes.
few months now, like so I try to be better about that. But you mentioned tea, so like you're
Hmm.
big into tea. What is your favorite?
I don't have one favorite
Okay.
because I really do like everything, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been more into herbal
Mm.
lately just because I started off so I'm a Canadian American. My father is born and raised in Canada. I'm a dual citizen. We live in
Nice.
the US, but half my family's in Canada. So I was raised on like the British tea tradition of, you know, a black or orange pekoe tea,
With
milk,
milk?
sugar,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And you usually take it like at night or if people come over, it's flowing.
Yes. Yes.
Um, but then, like as I got older, I'm like, there's so many kinds, and it took me a while to get away from the caffeinated kinds. I still, like I said, I'm a coffee drinker too. Like it's not that I have anything against caffeine, but again, as you get older, you're like, oh, I can't sleep if I drink this past a
Mm-hmm.
certain point. And so I love my like evening tea. And so I've, I'm not a huge fan of chamomile. That makes me feel like I'm sick.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just reminds me of being sick. So basically anything else, like a good fruity blend or I'm a big fan of I know this is a polarizing thing. Some people are like not into licorice, but I like licorice. Um,
Ooh.
licorice tea. Like a
Yeah.
warm back of the throat kind of licorice tea
Mm-hmm.
is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But truly, like there are very few that I don't like. And I play around with the decaf blends, the
Mm-hmm.
naturally decaffeinated teas.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a good chai. I even have some blends that don't have tea in them, but it's just all the spices, and then you could like brew that with some milk. And you in
Oh,
the
nice.
UK are spoiled with like your access to good chai, which
Yeah.
here, I mean,
Yeah.
forget
Yeah.
about it.
No, it is pretty good here, and you get both great teas and, as you
Hmm.
say, chais, great
Hmm.
coffee. So like we are, well, depending where you are, I guess. Like in England, for example,
Sure.
yeah, we have plenty, or they, sorry, I live in Scotland. They have
Oh, okay.
great teas. However, their water is shit. So their water is no, I'm not even joking. Their water is so hard. If you want a
Mm.
decent coffee, uh, basically, and your coffee shop or tea shop doesn't do this like chemical magic where they soften their water, it's not gonna be great. Like,
Interesting.
yeah, whereas Scotland has one of the best waters in the world. Like, I'm not
Mm.
biased at all. I'm not, no, but genuinely, we have such a great water for teas, for coffees, to drink. Beautiful. Also, you said you had a Canadian passport.
Not a passport, but I have
Oh,
citizenship.
wait, so can apply for a passport then?
I could, but to be honest, it's bureaucracy. I
But
think if I
don't you
would travel
think?
internationally,
Mm-hmm,
depending on where,
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm,
might consider going through the hassle because I'd rather present myself as a Canadian than an American. But it's a whole calculation where you're flying out,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and again, working in immigration, I think I'm a little more sensitive to you might think like, well, I'll just use my Canadian. It's like, well, but I don't know. It kind of messes with there's a logistical consideration there. And I think in
Yeah,
the EU, it's different because it's so obvious that people are all going everywhere, and you've got like the Schengen lines and all this stuff that's
not
sort of
anymore
like,
here.
uh-huh, that's fair,
Brexit,
that's fair.
Brexit.
Ah,
I
man,
know.
I'm
Tell
sorry.
tell me about it. Tell me about it.
But
No, so you're not
yeah,
one of them. So you're not one of them liberals who I'm gonna move to Canada. Like when a certain somebody became president twice. You're
listen,
not.
I thought about it.
Ah, here we go.
I thought about it.
Mm-hmm,
And, as somebody, I think the tricky part is so as I had said, I've worked at this immigration law firm for like going on 8 years.
mm-hmm,
And labor laws, like I can't work for that firm if I leave the country. So,
Hmm.
I would have to find a different job. I've actually done some internships in Canada in the immigration space, and it's a happier place over there. I mean, it's been a while since I've
Hmm.
been in that world, but it was a very different story. But it's just, it's a different type of immigration. I've kind of specialized in US at this point, so
Hmm.
it would almost be like starting over. And as
Hmm.
much as I like that it's an option, um, I think I should stay here and vote,
Yes, yes. But also, I'll
especially where I
say,
live now.
yeah, I will say though, as a person with two passports, it's
Hmm.
definitely handy to have that extra passport, on hand because I now, I have my Czech one because I'm originally from Czech Republic, so European
Ah, okay.
passport
There you
that
go.
still grants me all the privileges of EU and Schengen and all that. But
Hmm.
also I am a British citizen, so
Hmm.
because again I don't trust this government not to throw me out on the first opportunity. So I was like, you know what? Let's make it legal. Let's go through
Yeah.
all the like proper procedure, plans and routes and all that. So if government changes and somebody like we do have a one or two Donald Trumps of UK where they would like to deport a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I should probably get the passport because, like, that's how you want to move. If they actually start to remove passports from you, that's like, no, it's time to go.
Oh, yeah. You'd
It's
say, I will remove myself before you remove my
yeah,
passport from me.
yes, 100%. So, how difficult can I ask? How difficult would it be for you to actually apply if you're already so you half Canadian, half
Mhm.
American? How
Mhm.
difficult would it be for you to actually get the Canadian passport? Not even like saying you would move there, just the passport.
Mhm. I don't think it's difficult. I
Mm-hmm.
have their equivalent of a social security card, because I did work there briefly, like during grad
Mm-hmm.
school, I interned. Um, but the truly what it comes down to
Mm-hmm.
is Canada has more in common with like the EU in that there's like just a lot of bureaucracy. So whereas in the US, when you apply for your passport, you fill out a form, you enclose a check, and there's this option. I don't know if they have it in Canada, but I kind of feel like this is a very American thing. You
Mm-hmm.
can pay more money for them to do it faster.
Uh,
Um,
isn't it all over the world?
Maybe it is. I've only ever done the US passport, and
Okay.
obviously I
Because in
uh
Czech Republic it's the same. Like you can,
oh, is
like
it
when I reapplied
you
for because
you
obviously
pad the
yeah,
envelope a little and you get
eh,
it faster?
like you need to reapply every 10 years. So
Yeah.
like now me living here, I last time I did it there was a option you can wait for a whole month and get
Hmm.
it like and for like the default price. You can pay
Hmm.
extra and you can get it within I think a week. And then there's an
Hmm.
extra option where you can give you like a specifically temporary one, like specific one, that's
Hmm.
only valid for 6 months, but
Hmm.
it will be done like next day. And I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
yeah, but it's only like some sort of machine one that's only valid for like 6 months. So I don't understand the purpose of that.
Probably just for someone who like is in a bind and
Yes.
really has to replace or like a stolen passport
Mm,
situation that happens a lot more than you would think
mm,
and is very distressing for people who are
mm,
not in the country that they are from. Um, so yeah, I mean, truly it's like it's just the pain in the butt factor. Like I don't
mm,
actually think it would be that difficult. I'm eligible. It's
mm,
just
mm,
doing it. And I don't know if they would want me to be present. Some places care about that, some places don't.
mm,
Um,
mm,
I've just never tried. And my dad at this point, like he's an American citizen and has like kind of renounced like his
mm,
passport and stuff, so he can still go. And if we ever needed to pivot, my sister and I both have citizenship, so it's not a big deal. But
mm.
I think also, like, for what it's worth, like people who work in a certain area, you're so inundated in it, you're kind of like, I'm not doing that unless I have to.
Fair,
There's a
fair.
little bit of that too, where I'm like, I talk about people's well, when I was a paralegal for years, I talked about people's passports with them
Mm.
all the time. And it was just like this constant
I would
thing and filling
imagine.
out the papers. So I was like, yeah, I don't think I want to bother with that unless I have to. Again, if
Yes.
I wanted to like go to Cuba
Mm,
or, honestly, there have been times during the Trump administration's plural where I've thought, if I'm going to go international, I'd much rather do so as a Canadian. But again, if I'm flying in and out of the US, it's more it's better for you to be an American when you leave and return
Hmm.
in that respect, right? Because
Hmm.
you want to present yourself as a person who's returning home, not
Yes.
yeah, so like,
No, this is why I always take both of mine, especially if I'm traveling in and out of the Europe. So when I come
hmm
back, and especially now in the last 6 months, they introduced this is a thing called ETA, like electronic something, like travelers, like I don't know
Mm.
what it is, but basically for any European who comes in, now they have to pay for this like electronic thing that's like £16.
Oh
So
wow.
which is like to be fair, that's okay. It's not bad, but obviously, like
It's
fuck
not
paying
nothing
that.
though.
No, it's not nothing, but also fuck paying that if you live here. So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fight with somebody, some prickety like border. I'm just gonna take my
hmm
British passport and present my British passport when I'm coming back home because here is my home now. But
hmm
also for you, I just remembered. I know this fact, and I always like you might explain it to me why that is even in place because I don't understand it. So I know you as American, if you wanted
hmm
to actually relocate anywhere in the world, to my understanding, you would still have to pay taxes to U.S. government. No,
You
even if
certainly
you
would.
exactly, and I think that's like one of the few countries. America is one of the few countries that does that. So like, if you even if you like, let's say, live in Canada or
hmm
Spain,
hmm
you would still have to tax or send some tax to America. So my question is, do you know about it, and also why? Like,
I can only guess, but I think it's like, frankly, the US being what it is, it's citizenship is, you can get citizenship just by being born on American soil to
hmm
this day,
yep.
right? I know it's not
They
something that
haven't. They
they
haven't.
want
Yeah,
to
they
be
haven't
true, but it
reverted
is
it
true.
yet.
It's
Yeah,
called jus soli.
yes.
It's justice of the soil or law of the soil.
Comes from the
So,
British law, by the way. You probably know this, but it comes from
mm-hmm.
from the British settlers that
Mm-hmm.
happened to so the Constitution partly influenced by the British, unfortunately. But sorry, continue.
No, not unfortunate. I think that that's a good thing because the alternative is jus sanguini, which is like the law of blood,
Hmm.
meaning you could be born anywhere to someone who's an American and that makes you American. Whereas if you're born to someone who's not American, you're not. And
Hmm.
I'm obviously of the opinion that like if you're born here, you deserve to be a citizen. It's fine.
Hmm.
But anyway, like I believe that they view the status of being a citizen as a privilege, and it's something that you pay for and you pay
Hmm.
into.
Hmm.
And so there's a similar thing even if you become a permanent resident, like there if you're, an immigrant in the United States and
Hmm.
you are working, like the taxes you pay and stuff are different until you become a permanent resident. And then
Hmm.
from that point onward, like the legitimacy of like your stake in the US requires you to pay more taxes and to pay
Interesting.
into the system. Not that people who work in the US, to be clear,
Hmm.
without permanent residency, like if you were on some other kind of status, you're still paying taxes,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
clear.
Hmm.
But it's the taxation thing is different.
Hmm. Which again, like I do understand that point. However, I don't
hmm
understand if let's say I'm American, I want to
hmm
move with my own free will, right? And I don't want to renounce my American citizenship, and I move to again Canada, Spain, doesn't
hmm
matter.
hmm
Like I will pay my fair share of the tax to the government I'm residing. Like if I reside in Spain, I'll pay Spanish taxes. But I don't understand why I would pay Spanish taxes and then American taxes on top of that. I'm like, that almost seems like a punishment for don't you ever dare to leave us.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that, I mean, I can't tell you like the precedent for it or like
Mm-hmm.
exactly why it is that way. Um, but that feels like why, to be honest, that it's either they don't want people to leave or they hold on to you even when you
Mm-hmm.
are, an expatriate. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely a consideration on top of everything. Like if you want to remain a citizen of the United States, like there is literally a cost associated to it.
Mm-hmm. I love,
As
by the
far as I
way.
know, maybe there's ways to dodge that.
Yeah.
I don't know them.
To my understanding, it's not. But again, I haven't looked into that much because I'm not American, so I don't really care. But I've heard of this, and I'm like, this is insane. Also, quick point. I love how you said expatriate because that to me is such an interesting phrase for used specifically here by the very nationalist British people who don't want to be
Oh,
called
really?
immigrants. Well, yeah,
Interesting.
because like it's funny how so there's a stereotype of a British person who works his entire life here, like in
Mm-hmm.
England, Scotland, doesn't matter, and
Mm-hmm.
then they retire to Spain,
Mm-hmm.
but they are not immigrants. You see, they are because they don't like to be called immigrant because it's somehow bad. I don't know why, but okay, it's bad. So they call themselves expats or expatriates. And I
Mm-hmm.
always, when I hear, it's like, oh, you mean immigrants? So many people don't like to hear that word. They're like, oh no 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 no, expats expats. I'm like, but think about it. They moved from here to Spain.
Oh, they're
So
totally immigrants.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, so I love how like this is like a such an interesting way to repackage words and language. They're like, oh yeah, we yeah to us immigrants because there's the connotation, right? Like, oh, immigrants are like disgusting. They cost us money. We don't like them here. But if I do it, if I move to Spain, I'm not an immigrant really. I'm an expat. I'm an expatriate. So then just
Well,
like
yeah.
my little hill because I hear that often, and I always like, it's an immigrant, mate. It's just an immigrant.
No, I totally see what you're saying, and that's an interesting point. In the US, I don't, it's not a derogatory term, but it is like well, see, to me it's kind of derogatory, but it is like embedded in the legal
hmm
terminology that
hmm
immigrants are called aliens.
I
Like,
so it's now in Czech language as well. So and when my now wife got an visa thing when we were visiting Czech Republic and then she had to visit alien police and I'm like the actual fuck.
yeah.
Like, do they not like? Do they translate this poorly, or like I like like immigration police? Okay, but alien police. I'm like the actual what the fuck?
Because
And
obviously immigrants have a connotation in the US too, but
mhm,
there can be a positive and a negative connotation.
yes,
Because frankly, we're all immigrants, and
hmm
most people can accept that.
hmm
But then there's these other terms they use that are like the mean ones.
yes,
If they
yes,
really want to be mean, they
yeah,
will, call people undocumented or
hmm
aliens
yeah,
or illegals or whatever the heck. And
hmm hmm
so those are the words that have like baggage
hmm
in our world. But when I think about people leaving the US, to be honest, I think about older people because I think
yeah,
generally speaking, that's
hmm
people. You hear Americans all the time. They're like, "Yeah, maybe I'll retire in wherever." And I'm like,
hmm
"Listen to yourself." Like, are you okay with people coming here and being a burden on our system? Because if you are, then fine, go ahead. But
and
I
that's
bet
the
you're
thing, right?
not.
And that's the thing. That's the most like I'm not gonna comment on Americans because I don't obviously know them as many. But the most paradoxical thing about the expatriates of the UK who now live in Spain, Italy, all those countries. Do you think they learn the language and try to incorporate themselves into the culture? No,
No way.
they form English communities within
Hmm.
Spain and Italy. Hence why there's some part of Spain and Italy that fucking hates English people. And for a
Mm,
good reason. And I almost guarantee you about 80-90% are the same cunts who voted for Brexit because of immigrants. And I'm
hmm.
like the paradox is just, it's not even slapping them in the face, it's kicking them in the arse. But like they cannot see it, they cannot feel it. And I'm like, this is
Because
just
it's them.
insane.
Like when
Yes,
it's about them.
correct. Correct. Once you make it personal, it's like no, 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 no.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Let's focus on this immigrant I don't like,
Right.
because they have
Where
a
I
different
don't
accent to
know, I can
mine.
just
Yeah,
assume things about. In that
correct.
way, I think people are largely the same.
Unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
just it's no, it's fun no matter where you live. We
Hmm.
do live in a. I hate when the phrase we live in unprecedented times because for once in my so you mentioned you're 32. I'm slightly older. I'm 34, right?
Mm.
For once in my 34-year-old life, I would like to be told, you live in the most boring times ever. Nothing really happens. It's just
Yeah.
like it's we all kind of chill. That would be nice. Then to live through like another unprecedented, historical event after another one, and I'm like, okay. And we are approaching 30s. And I'm like, is history gonna repeat it, itself? The another economical crash seems to be inevitable. Some wars are brewing again. So I'm like, the last 30s were not fun.
Yeah, they were not.
hmm So, good, a lot of fun things to look forward to. But anyway, before everybody wants to die and kill themselves, so listening to me, let's move on. uh, so you mentioned Pennsylvania.
Hmm.
So, Haley, if I were to ask, I'm coming to Pennsylvania for 1 week and 1 week only for holiday, right?
Hmm.
Where would you take me? What can I see that only is in Pennsylvania? Where would we go to eat? Like, is there something in Pennsylvania that's only there? Only, like a pride and joy?
Well, I don't know if this is like a pride and joy, but a relatively unique thing about Pennsylvania, which is very much true in specifically the area where I am, is
Mm-hmm.
we're in Pennsylvania Dutch country, which is like where the
Mm.
Amish people are.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I grew up around the Amish, like they are here, they live their lives. It's very separate from ours, but like I almost forget a lot of the times that they're there because to me they're just part of this world. But when I left for so long,
Mm-hmm.
only to come back, I think I realized a lot more like how distinct this like it's not just the Amish, but like the whole Pennsylvania Dutch thing. Like it really is its own thing. And
So are you
you
telling me
know,
you've been spending most of your life living in an Amish paradise?
it's a paradise is a strong word, but it's home, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something interesting about it all. Like I find it more interesting now that I've been away, and of course people would ask a lot about it, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't, to be honest, I didn't know because I
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't like to me there's nothing weird about the Amish. I'm like, yep, they're there, okay. And like clearly they've got their thing figured out. I don't know a ton about them because I just leave them alone. That's what
Mm-hmm.
they I mean, I buy their dessert, which is excellent.
I
Um,
hear good things about like their cuisine and like their food, like Amish food. Like you're like the third person who mentioned if you're in America and there's
mhm.
Amish around, you go and eat there because they have some great food.
It's just very, basic, but like homey,
Yeah.
a lot of fat, a lot
hmm
of just
Butter.
everything that makes stuff good,
hmm hmm
you
hmm
know.
hmm
So yeah, this area is good for that. The
hmm
town that I live in, specifically Lebanon, we have our own bologna. And again, I'm a vegetarian, so not I'm this I don't have a lot of skin in this game, but um
hmm
every year the instead of like a ball drop for the new year, there's a bologna drop. So it's sort of like a tip, like there are people who would know about Lebanon bologna, even like a couple states away. It's sort of weirdly famous for its bologna. And it's a good place to get pretzels. If you like
hmm
a pretzel,
hmm
this is like the pretzel capital of the United States,
I didn't
in
know there's
Pennsylvania.
a city called Lebanon in America.
There are actually Lebanons in almost every state. Like I lived in New Hampshire and I
hmm
lived one town over from a Lebanon, New Hampshire. So I would drive 10 hours from home to grad school and I was like, I'm still in Lebanon.
That is
But yeah, I don't know why.
okay.
It's pronounced Lebanon, not Lebanon, like the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's actually a very common town name. So I'm in the Pennsylvania one, but you'll
hmm
see them
hmm
in almost every state.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And let's see. Oh, I also made a note. I'm about 40 minutes from Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is
Mm-hmm.
where the chocolate
Mm-hmm.
factory started. And there's an amusement park,
Mm-hmm.
a pretty good amusement park. These days it's very crowded, but I think most amusement parks are. But it's got a water park
Mm-hmm.
um and it's the theme is chocolate, which is fun. I mean, I'm not
Makes
saying
sense.
it's the best chocolate. I'm under no like misconceptions about that. But it's an experience. And of all the themes, like candy as a theme is a fun idea.
So it's like a real life like Willy Wonka chocolate factory almost.
There is like a part that you don't even have to pay to get in
Mm-hmm.
outside of the amusement park called Chocolate World. And you can
Mm-hmm.
go on a little ride that tells you how the chocolate's made, and at the end you get a little sample of chocolate. And then there's just like every kind of chocolate themed thing to buy, and there are like chocolate activities. You can like build your own candy bar, and they have like hot chocolate flights to try different chocolates from different parts of the world. Like it's just a very, as someone who just likes food,
Hmm.
it never got old. I mean, I was like born and I did that from the day I was born, and I'll
Hmm.
still go.
See, only thing that's missing in that picture is Oompa Loompas singing about like how chocolate's being made and endangering kids, and it's basically Willy Wonka.
Well, I'm 5 feet tall, so when I'm there,
Are you?
and if I have a good tan going, then I'm like three-fourths of the way to the Oompa Loompa.
I'm always mesmerized by how like some people are so tiny because I'm a big dude. I'm like six, so in your it's like
Hmm.
6.5, like 6 feet
Oh my
and a
goodness.
half. So like I'm like 184 centimeters. So like
Uh-huh.
yeah, you'd be very tiny. Like you're very okay. Whoa. And
Yes,
obviously like I cannot tell because you're sitting down. So
I'm
like
a hobbit.
that's so. I'm always fascinated by people who are tiny. Like I have this colleague at work, uh, and she's the tiniest woman I like. And
Hmm.
she's a grown woman who's pregnant again, and she's
Hmm.
like, but like I like. It's so funny to see like big man like myself standing next to her and just like yeah, it's just almost like I'm looking down to at her, but I'm not. I'm like you're a boss. Like she's one of the big bosses, but I was like, oh yeah, but it's so funny. Like, yeah, okay, that kind of blew my mind. Like, you're only 5 feet tall.
I should have started with that. Yeah, no, my grandfather on my mom's side was a jockey.
Hmm,
One of those
makes
little
sense.
tiny horse
Yes,
riders.
yes.
And so between him and then he married my grandma, who was 5 foot
Mhm,
even at her
mhm,
prime.
mhm.
And so I take very much after those two,
So it runs in the
unfortunately.
family. Yeah.
It does.
Okay, that's fascinating. So, can I ask how tall is your boyfriend husband?
My husband is like 5'8", which t like I've dated people of all heights,
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
and this that was a sweet spot. Like
mhm.
to me, he's quite tall, but
Yeah.
like I can still, touch the top of his head if I have to, or
Mhm, mhm.
whereas, dating someone who's like 6 feet tall, for me it just kind of looked silly. It's like you're saying when you walk down the street with someone who's like over 6 feet tall,
Mhm,
it just started to look goofy. Um, and you just want to be able to like hold the person's hand and like,
mhm.
not give them like back problems if they want to give you a kiss.
Yeah.
Not have a stool everywhere. So yeah. But
So
Shane and I, are good friends, and he's over 6 feet tall. So whenever
yes,
we walk around together, it's pretty funny.
I think Shane is slightly taller than me. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2", something like that. So yeah, like he
Yeah.
is taller than me. But I was gonna say, so I just came back from Netherlands. I was on a business trip there for a couple of
Uh-huh.
days, and let me tell you what they say about the Dutch is true. I'm 6.5, so 6 feet and a half inch. So like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a tiny dude, but in Netherlands, I felt like I was one of the tinier dudes there because like most dudes were towering over me, and I'm like, holy shit! Like genuinely, like there's like most of the time where if I travel, like I'm usually like one of the tallest people around,
Mm-hmm.
or one of the taller ones at least. In Netherlands, no. Like like you see a bunch of people on the street just like, and even women are like, holy shit, there's like so many tall women here. So I was
It's a bunch of
mesmerized. I was like,
supermodels walking around.
also yeah, also most of them are like, either proper like stunning is like, hey, this supermodel is riding a bike right now,
Hmm.
or like she is very cute. Like she's not super, but she's very cute. And I'm like, like do they hide like a very ugly people? Do they not have them here? Like where all my bros at? Like like hey, I felt very underrepresented. There. Like I'm like where do they hide all these ugly people? Like I don't know, but it's a experience. So like if you want to feel proper like like a hobbit as he said, travel to Netherlands and you can just be genuinely in a land of giants.
Yeah, I've never been, but I feel like it would be interesting for sure.
So the place I've been to, from if I understand correctly, it's pronounced Groningen. It's called Groningen, but it's pronounced Groningen because that's
Hmm.
Dutch in a nutshell. Great funny
Hmm.
language. Shout out to Chris if he listens. Basic and beautiful town, student town. So like it's living, it's great, and one of the few places I've been to through my work where I'm like, I can actually see myself moving here and living here because it seemed like a nice city, nice cozy city.
Mm,
Even if it was cold and a bit rainy, it still felt
hmm
like, hey, there's a theater right here. There's like a community center is there where they, help all kinds of people. And you had like, nightlife was buzzing. And I was like, okay, that's very nice, very nice. So like I could, one of the few places I've been to where I could imagine like I could actually live here, like move there. So I'll say that.
So for people who are
Mm-hmm.
unsure about visiting Pennsylvania, you could go
Mm-hmm.
to the Netherlands instead. Maybe that's the better call.
I was gonna no, but I was gonna actually come back to that because you mentioned Hershey's and the
hmm
Hershey chocolate. So I cannot speak to it fully. I've only had the Hershey's we have here in the UK, and I
Mm,
don't know if it's the same thing. But me, as a chocolate person who has an incredible chocolate tooth, like, and
hmm
that's my weakness.
hmm
Hershey's wasn't my favorite, and I wondered, like, what's your stance on it?
No, for sure.
Hmm.
It's not the best chocolate.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I'm not afraid to say that. Like it is dear to me
You're so
because
brave.
thank you. We were saying we needed some hot takes, so there you go. Um, it's just there's not the chocolate content isn't very high. Now, I've spent time in Europe and
Hmm.
the like Kinder and like Cadbury, I think
Yeah,
is
Cadbury.
common over there.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like those, I don't think they're a whole lot better than Hershey. Like they also are super sweet
Hmm.
and just taste super mass produced. But there's a lot of great chocolate out there,
Yep.
and I just think like if you have a higher chocolate content, and probably like a slightly more refined
Mm.
process of making the chocolate, you're gonna enjoy it more. But I don't know, it probably does taste different
Hmm.
like abroad than it does in the US, but I would argue that it's probably better, like at least a little. Because the American things I've had abroad, like you go to Burger King and everything tastes way better there.
Well, we
Like
have
when I studied abroad
standards.
in Spain, everything like people loved Burger King and I was like, "What are you doing? Why are you at Burger King?" And then I had like their ice cream and I was like, "This is like twice as good as the ice cream at
Not to be,
American Burger King."
not to be that guy, but or trying to be funny. But we actually have food standards and like agencies
Yeah,
that monitor what we eat and what can be sold as.
exactly.
If you sell a burger, it should be this much, this much, this much, and people often rail about this because bad government agencies how they tell us how much beef should be in one's burger, right? But then because of that, the burgers, even like a Burger King, they're okay. Like they're not the best
Yeah.
burgers. 100% you'll get like if you get to any big enough city, you have local joints they'll serve you amazing burgers. But
hmm
even the Burger Kings of this world in the UK are okay. And just to
Yeah.
underline our chocolate debate and Dutch debate, so
hmm
you mentioned like like Hershey's not your favorite, Cadbury's also like mass produced and too sweet. I would strongly recommend if you ever can get your hands on Tony's Chocolonely.
I have had it.
What did you think of that?
I like it, and I like the mission of it, obviously. Like,
Yes,
I
yes,
like what they're trying to do. Also, when you buy those chocolate bars, they're hefty.
they are,
Like,
and that's why they are expensive. They are
yeah,
hefty.
but the amount you're getting is
Mm-hmm.
like 10 servings or something. So,
Yep.
yeah, no, I like that.
So yeah, and because that's a proper Dutch brand. Now obviously it's
Mm.
kind of global, I think, but that started in the Netherlands, and
Oh,
with,
cool.
as you said, with a great mission. But
hmm
it's quite a sad that even their CEO is on record that's saying as much as we can physically try, we still cannot guarantee 100% of our like cocoa beans is produced with no slave labor.
Yeah.
Because like he, if I'm not mistaken, he used to work for like Cadbury or like Kinder or one of the big guys,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't like that, so he tried to
Mm-hmm.
change it, and he's trying still. But yeah, unless he said like unless you have physically people in like these African countries producing the cocoa beans and collecting them, unless you have somebody monitoring them all the time,
Right.
you cannot be 100% sure that they are not cheating and using, because cut the cost, you use slave kids, people who should
Yeah.
not be doing that, and it
hmm
and it's so insane that even company like that cannot really guarantee it. But at least I was gonna say at least they are honest about it. But I like yeah,
It's
it's hard.
just too bad, right? Because it's
It
such
is.
a delightful thing
Mm-hmm.
that has so much like pain and darkness behind it.
Yep, yep. But no,
Hmm.
like, but like, again, Pennsylvania sounds awesome. Like, like I always wanted to go. Like, always wanted to go to any of the Americas. Like, I've never been to any of the American states. Still,
Oh wow.
I know,
Well,
I know. That's
if
what.
you ever decide that Pennsylvania is the one, you let me know.
Oh, I will. I will. Like, maybe in a couple of years. Like, I'm hoping for certain government to be out, so I don't get stopped, or my wife doesn't get stopped on a border. Like, get back.
Yeah,
Like, I am not gonna. No. I'm not gonna chance it right now. But like, hopefully in a couple of years, I'm definitely, in for a one big road trip because that'd be awesome.
amazing.
But yeah, I think with that, excuse me, we can move to the this or that game where I'll give you
All right.
two choices and you tell me
Hmm.
which one would you prefer and why.
Okay.
So Haley, iOS or Android?
I am an Android person,
Okay.
and the only reason why is because I've never had an Apple device, and so I don't know how to use them.
Wait. So, but you are iOS. Wait, have I misheard? Did you say you are an iOS user?
Oh no, Android.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you said iOS. I was like, and then you followed it up. You never had an iOS device or Apple device. I was like, wait, what? Okay,
Only
so
only ever Samsung and
okay.
Android phones.
Mhm.
I had
Mhm.
a Google Pixel once, and even that was a little
Mhm.
much.
Fair, fair. TV shows or movies? Mhm.
That's a tough one
Yep.
because I think it depends on what it is. Generally speaking, I think it's like short stories or novels. Like I like
Mhm.
both, but what kind of story are you trying to tell?
Yep.
So, I really appreciate a well-made show, but I
Mhm.
think shows are tough. There's a lot more filler usually. So like I think generally like it's easier to get a good movie,
Mhm. Yeah.
but there are some spectacular shows out there that
100%.
are some of my favorite things I've ever seen, right? So it's
Yes.
like it can
And
go
it's
epic.
like it's so hard when you have a great show with a couple of seasons and then the final season sucks or the finale sucks.
True.
And it's just
The
like
ending
yeah.
or lack thereof, where they can just drop it. True. Okay, I'm going with movies. Yeah. Oh, I hate that. I hate that when they just, there's a show, you're really into it, and then they're like, we just leaving you hanging.
Yep.
Funding is cut.
Yep.
What
Yeah.
the
Yep.
heck?
It's no, it's all. But as you mentioned, there are some great TV shows. No matter and nowadays we have a lot of limited shows, like one season, and done. And
I like
those
those.
usually are spectacular, like
Yeah.
Chernobyls and all that.
Hmm. That
But
was
even
amazing.
but even though nowadays what they've learned is, oh, you like the season of one of this? Okay, let's make season two. Like Shogun was supposed to be one season, and now they're developing second season because it was so successful
Mm,
and won all the awards. And quite a few I'm kind of now forgetting, but I know like it seems to be a bit of a trend, where it's like
yeah.
limited, series, one time only deal, 6 episodes only, and then it wins all the awards, gets all the buzz, and it's like, actually, we were kidding. Second season is planning. It's being
I feel
planned in
like
two
Squid
years.
Game is a great example where
Yes,
you're
yes,
like, you told the story. You
yeah,
hurt me enough. I do not want more of this. Like I
hundred
respect
percent.
it, but please.
And I'm sure. I don't know if I'm making this up, but I'm sure even the creator, right after the season one or the first season, only one limited series ended. It was like, oh no, I'm not gonna make a second season. And then like 6 months later, oh no, we're making second season. And
I'm
then
sure
we're
the
splitting into
producer, like the board approached him with like a gun and said like, "You're making another season."
Guy, look how much money you're leaving on the table, okay? Guy,
Mm,
please do this for us, okay? It's just, who would have dared to approach him with, hey, do you have another original idea? That's why we
right.
are getting like so many. Apparently, there's like 5 to 10 spin-off shows of Stranger Things being planned, and I'm like, really? Who the fuck is gonna watch that? And A and B, why? And C, why don't we just get, how do you get Stranger Things like phenomena? Get some younger people chance to create something new, something
Mhm.
weird, something quirky. Hey, and this is how you take off. Not right. Not like, oh, we have this established IP. We need to have spin-offs. Who's gonna
Yeah,
watch that?
totally aligned. I'm bad about like investigating the entire universe of a thing. I just
Mm,
don't. I say, tell me the stuff that's good, and I'll watch that. And then if it's not good, I'm not watching it.
correct, correct. But yeah, so
Generally.
same. So you kind of answered this one before, but I'll
Okay.
ask this question anyway. Tea or coffee?
I thought that was where,
Yep.
yeah, so I mean, for much of my life, I only drank tea. Like I grew
Mhm.
up drinking tea.
Mhm.
Spain just in many ways reset things about my life. You know, you live in Europe for a little while,
Mhm.
and I was like, because to be clear, when you drink coffee in Europe, it tastes good.
It's very nice coffee most of the time.
It's
Yes.
excellent coffee
Mhm.
and just cafe culture. I loved cafe
Yes.
culture.
Yes.
I still love cafe culture. It's just I came back home and I was chasing that high for
Mhm.
years,
Mhm.
but I could never like, I mean, you can get good coffee in the US, but you will pay dearly for it, or you will buy a bunch of crap to put in your house to make it
Mhm.
yourself. Um, which is too bad because honestly, there's a lot of great tea, and I like teapots as well. So like for me, it's not just about the tea. It's also I collect teapots, so
Mhm. Mhm.
I have it's the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the variety. I love that it can be, all these different kinds. So I would say tea is where my heart is.
Mhm.
I'm just addicted to caffeine, so I drink espresso every day.
Fair. And also, like I think he described, like 80% of all the people, just like I prefer tea, but I'm addicted to coffee. So like I know many people like that. It's just like yeah,
Yeah,
I need to have my coffee.
it's just
Money?
become part of
Yeah.
it. Oh yeah, go
Yes,
ahead.
correct. No, 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 all good. Money or free time?
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
The older I get, the more I think yeah, man. Now that I've been in like a career for, going on 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
I've said many times to people like, especially in the US, because this is hard, like you just don't get a lot of time off. And
Nope.
you can really just see how 10 years is gonna fly by and like you're not gonna do anything. So I wish that at my 5 year, like I wish my company, instead of giving me like a present, like I could choose a present from the company. What
Mm-hmm.
I wanted was like a sabbatical. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't even have to be long, but like a guilt-free week off. Because yeah, you can take time off, but
It's not paid, right?
it is it is paid, but there's just this like there's the culture around like, well, you can't take more than 2 weeks at a time. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
do that, and like
Mm-hmm.
and then even if no one says it, people are like, "Oh my God, you're gonna be gone for a week? Like what will we do?" And you're just like, "Could I just go for a month and have no one ask because I've worked here for 5 years?"
Mm-hmm.
Like every 5 years, can I have a month? That would just be bliss. Because it's
Mm-hmm.
not like I don't want to go places. I just can't. Like, where are you really going to go for even one week? I mean, my honeymoon was like 2 weeks, and that was my honeymoon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we went to Spain and had an awesome time, but like that was by the time you get there,
Mm-hmm.
we could only really go to 3 places and like enjoy those places.
Yeah, yeah. So, am I correct in saying you work in a profession where you get 2 paid weeks off and as much technically as you want of unpaid leave?
So our system, and
Hmm.
you may have heard of this before, we have unlimited vacation.
I have heard of this, yes.
Yes, we have unlimited vacation, but
Hmm.
ask me how much time I take every year. Maybe 2 weeks cumulatively. Like, it's just, and also, I will say,
Hmm.
I work in kind of an intense w field, right? So,
Hmm.
like, that, especially when I was working directly with people every day, I had a caseload. These people needed stuff to get done, and
Hmm.
that was really hard. Now that I've pivoted over to the IT world, it's not as bad, but we're just like stretched really thin because the law firm is a law firm.
Hmm.
They want these technological solutions and they're looking for things to get developed and implemented, but I'm the only person who's doing my job. And so if I leave, like I don't currently have anybody to like pick that up. So
Hmm.
it's just such a like unfortunate situation. And I like
Sounds
my
like it.
law firm. I really do. Like I
Hmm.
I believe in what we do and I mean, that's why I put up with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's not an ideal situation.
So this might sound weird, but bear with me. Have you seen the
Hmm.
movie Muppets Most Wanted?
No.
Because there's a running gag about, so the Muppets go to Europe, right? And there's
Mm,
a running gag how the I can remember Burrell is like the dad from a Modern Family. He plays this like
mm,
French detective, and it's
okay.
always like they're about to crack the case, and he's like so French and so European. It's like, oh, it's 5 o'clock on the dot. I'm gonna go home. Wait, but we were almost finished. No, it's 5. We're going home. And then like they were about to crack the case again the next day. And it's like, oh, I'm off on my 2 week holiday, fully paid and funded. Thank you, bye. And he just leaves, like drops everything.
Yeah.
And as you know, when you said like you technically have unlimited time off, but you're almost like feel guilty taking more than 2 weeks. Like
Hmm.
at my current work, I have almost 7 weeks, like
Oh,
6 7 weeks to take,
dang.
and I'm like, I don't feel guilty at all. And I'm like, no, these
Shouldn't.
are there for me to use. So I'm like, no, I'm gonna use all of them. And because I know the more Americans I talk to, the more I talk to my colleagues here, they don't use all their holiday days. And I'm like, you know how many Americans would fucking literally kill to have what you have right now? Use it.
Yeah, and I
Use
miss
it.
the days when I first started working at my firm. We had the set number, and so yeah,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
took them because you would lose them.
Yes, yes.
Um, Now there's nothing to lose.
Because it's
It's this
unlimited.
amorphous concept that
Yes.
there's
Mm-hmm.
you take whatever, well, just take the time you want, but then you go to take it and they're like, yeah, but there's a big project happening at this time. It's like, okay.
Well, sucks to be this company, but I'm gonna be on my holiday, so I guess good luck, guys. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be rooting for you. But
Listen, but yes, that's a great question. And I
mm,
think, I don't know if many Americans answer the same way, but I'm very much like, the older I get, the more I'm like, no, I mean, it's hard to take time off, but I
mm-hmm,
would sacrifice money. Like, I
mm-hmm,
would take unpaid time if I could feel like when I came back, things weren't like a complete hot mess.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I would totally do it. I'd say, screw it. Don't pay me for a week.
No, yeah, like I'm 100% there with you. I think like even when I don't go anywhere, like don't travel anywhere, I would still take. If I have a week to take, I'll take a week and I'll just stay home and I'll just do
Hmm.
whatever I want. But I'm free to do whatever I want. So
Hmm.
that's the kind of point behind that, isn't it? To have that freedom to be like, I'll just chill for a bit. I can switch off,
Hmm.
and all is well.
Now, I will say,
Hmm.
I come from, like, I mean, it's a privileged position to have
Yeah.
because
Hmm.
I make enough money that I could go
Hmm.
like time without getting paid and not like be in a terrible situation. And a lot of people are not in that position.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I will give that caveat. Like, I'm very fortunate, but holy crap. I mean,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't, yeah, like I'd like to live a little.
Yep. No, I'm honestly rooting for you guys, like Americans, I mean, to get this sorted because I don't think this is sustainable for any time, like any longer, really. Just
Yeah.
lot of burnouts are happening, and younger people are getting like demoralized. I'm like, yeah. One of the big reasons I genuinely believe is this: the hustle culture, the shaming. Oh, what do you mean you want to take time off? Are you fucking weak or something? No,
Hmm.
you just need
It's
to.
like, don't you care about
Yeah,
the
exactly.
company?
We are a family here. You don't turn
Yeah.
your back on your family, as Vin Diesel would say.
Like,
Okay?
I have a family. I'm trying to see them.
Have you not watched the 10 Fast and Furious movies? Have they learned nothing? Have they taught you nothing at all? Honestly. Anyway,
That's funny.
honesty or other people's feelings.
Mm.
Hmm.
Um, the Canadian in me is very diplomatic. So
Hmm.
I I think there's a way to gently tell people the truth, but I do think I tend to, it depends on the person and like
Hmm.
the circumstances, of course, but
Hmm.
I will sugarcoat things and do the good bad good sandwich and all of those things to try to keep things positive and not um
What is the
and
good
I
and bad
appreciate,
sandwich? I never heard that.
it's like well, I think it's generally supposed to be like compliment and then like whatever you're actually trying to
Ah,
criticize someone about and then another
okay.
compliment.
Because I heard
But
like a
I think it's
sugar and whip, like it's a
uh-huh.
method of like give them a sugar cube and then whip them after, like so I guess the same
Right.
thing.
But
Okay.
then and then you give them another sugar cube is the idea. So that
Uh,
the thing that you wanted to kind of like
Yeah.
get at is in the
Yeah.
middle, but you like start soft and then you end soft. Now, will they have forgotten the important part in the middle? Maybe. So there's
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that, I'm not saying this is the right way,
Mm-hmm.
but I do know myself and I don't like making people sad. So I think sometimes maybe I'm a little too soft
Mm-hmm.
on, the important stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
like, if you're really close with people, I think they know you well enough to be like, well, if she's saying this to me, then I guess it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I understand what you mean, but see, for my money, like just give it to me straight because like I really don't like when people because I know many people like you, like before they give you the bad news, they are trying to be very positive about it. And
Mm,
and already from the tone and from the like the body language, you can tell something bad is happening, is gonna happen or is gonna be
yeah.
sad. So I'm like, don't sugarcoat it for me. Like, okay, just give it to me straight, please, because like that always like pisses me off. Because I'm the like very much straight. Let's talk about it. We're both adults, but I
Hmm.
understand not everybody's like me. So I understand many people wouldn't like that. So there, as you said, there's a balance to be had, and you need to know your audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So next one would be summer or winter.
Neither
Ooh.
spring and fall. No,
Nice.
if I had to choose between the two, I think maybe winter. Like
Mhm.
both my husband and I aren't great with heat. We like we'll both go to the beach, but we're not like beach people. And
Mhm.
so I think when you go outside and it's freezing, like a sunny, cold day is really refreshing.
Mhm.
Um, Summer is a nice time, but when you get too hot, it's like I think it's easier to get cranky when you're like really warm
Mhm.
as opposed to like when you're chilly, then again, I'm a coffee and a tea person, but I'm a hot coffee and hot tea person all year round.
Yeah.
Um, in Boston, people are big in their on their iced coffee,
Yes. Yes.
iced coffee. And I'm like, it's kind of messed up, guys. It's just watering down your coffee. It's just gross. But like in the summer, there are days when I'm like, oh God, maybe I shouldn't get the hot one, but the hot one's just better.
Mhm.
In the winter, I'm justified.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Okay, and in Pennsylvania, how does that look like? Like, like because winter, if I'm not mistaken, do you get a lot of snow?
We get some. So like
Some.
it's a very moderate place. Like
Okay.
we do get snow, but not a ton. When
Mhm.
I lived in Vermont, New Hampshire, that was like an inhospitable environment.
Ah.
It was beautiful. Like
Mhm.
there is beauty in the like
Mhm.
an extreme snowy place like that. Um, but it was like I don't know how people lived there before electricity. Like it's crazy. But here it's you get all four seasons, but they're
Mhm.
very like they're pretty mild, which is
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. See, I always say like there's a beauty in the snow as long
Hmm.
as you're, living comfortably inside of
If you're
your own
inside.
house
Yeah.
and you don't have to go out that day. Then you can admire all the beauty, be all poetic about it and that. But like, the
Mm,
moment you need to actually step outside and then maybe slip because there is an ice underneath, or like, you try to drive someplace and suddenly discover, hey, I'm in a new Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift or Pennsylvania
hmm.
Drift. It's like, ooh, yeah. Coming from a country that is like that, it's like, yeah, that's fun
Right.
times. Fun
I mean,
times.
we have ice, but it's really not like we don't have a tough time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
manageable.
Yeah, so if it's very moderate, I would imagine it's just kind of like
It's
Scotland.
mostly cute.
Yeah, like what we get here is if we get snow here, it's mostly for like 4 days. Where
Mm,
what I mean is, first day snows, and the
hmm.
fourth day nothing is left. Everything is just melted.
Oh.
So it's like we get maybe all overall 2 weeks a year where we kind of have snow, but
Hmm.
it doesn't. It rarely lasts longer than like 4 or 5 days.
Hmm.
So yeah.
That's kind of how I mean, here it can fluctuate a fair amount. We have
Mhm.
some winters where there's a lot of snow,
Mhm.
and then some winters where we barely get any.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So probably the most important question of all:
Okay.
ninjas or pirates?
Oh, that's tricky. I think pirates.
Mhm. Mhm.
I kind of like a rebel.
Okay.
an underdog. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, they're criminals, which
Mm-hmm.
is not ideal. I'm not
Unfortunate, yeah.
condoning people committing crime, but there's usually like a Robin Hood kind of thing going on where like what the ones they're stealing from are usually like
The rich, yeah,
the big guy, you know?
yeah.
Um, and obviously I love the Pirates movies growing up. Those were awesome.
Yes, yes, they are.
Yeah, I don't know as much about like ninjas. I feel like they're very disciplined and
Mm-hmm.
it's like the opposite of pirates, and
Yeah,
I just think I would vibe more with the pirates.
yeah, that's sensible, sensible. What's your stance on rum?
Rum? I
Mm.
like rum.
All right,
I love,
see?
if it's hot, I think the thing that I have against summer is that most of the time in the summer, you're
Mm-hmm.
not at a swim up bar drinking a rum-based drink. If I were at the swim up bar drinking a rum-based drink, I love summer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
bring it on. It can be as hot as any, like, whatever, no problem, because I'm in a pool with my little drink that's got a little umbrella in it, and it's probably rum-based, and I'm having a great time. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
most of the time, it's not that. It's me, still going about my day to day. And when I lived in a city, I mean, like hot city is just the worst. It smells. I mean, Boston's clean and it was a nice place, but it's just, ugh, it's not good.
Well, that's why you take the holidays in the summer if you can, and go someplace else like Spain. Like
I
Spain
know.
in the summer, beautiful. Like
Spain anytime, man.
that is
There's
true.
not a
That is
bad time.
that is true. I've been a couple of times, both for personal reasons and work reasons. Beautiful, like just Spanish people, lovely culture, great food,
hmm
amazing. Yeah, can't
hmm
really
hmm
fault it. I see. I'm becoming one of them. I'm becoming the British people. Like I might retire there. Who knows? We'll see.
I mean, the dream, I think for most people, it's like you should be able to, if I could go
Hmm.
once a year, I would. Like, that is the dream. Someday being able to, like, just say, all right, this is the Airbnb that I go to every year. I book it, I go.
Like
I don't have to
realistically,
live
I
there.
can. I have the passport. My
Hmm
the travel the one plane usually is one plane and it takes like 3.5 hours, so it's not that bad.
That's not
And
bad
if
at
you
all.
book everything in far in advance, it's not that expensive. But now like I've been there many times, so like I want to travel a bit more outside. Like like I still haven't been to Italy and all
Sure.
that. So, but no, like yeah, if you can, it is great. And again, if you plan it ahead, it's not that expensive. But obviously, if you're flying from America, it'll be fucking expensive because.
It's always expensive. And it's tricky for me. I'd like to go. I've been to a number of European countries, but the reason I haven't been to more is because I'm like, but I could just go to Spain. And like
Ah.
3 times I've
Mhm.
just gone to Spain
Mhm. Mhm.
because I love it so much. And I do speak Spanish. So like that,
Oh, nice.
it's like I speak it,
Mm.
I really became immersed and mastered the language there. So like I speak that Spanish.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it's just like my happy place a little bit. So it's really hard when it's like, well, I could go somewhere else, or I
Or.
could go to this place I know I like.
Mhm. Is there a specific city in Spain you love?
Yes, I
Tell
studied
me.
abroad in Granada
Oh,
in the south
nice.
of Spain in Andalusia.
Mhm.
Such a wonderful place.
I don't think I've been
It's
Granada, but I've been to Malaga, which is kind
Malaga's
of.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Valencia also is like quite nice. Yeah, yeah, like because that's kind of like southern kind of places.
hmm hmm
Yeah.
I just love the like Arabic influence from their history in
Mhm.
Granada. The architecture's cool.
Mhm.
I've been to Morocco,
Oh, I
but
haven't actually.
I and everyone on that trip got miserably ill.
Oof.
And I had to be honest with myself. Like the Sahara Desert was incredible. Like that
Mhm.
was so cool. Definitely, I've never had an experience like that. Um, but a lot of the like city stuff, like Granada really has some little areas that pretty much capture like what that is. And
Mhm.
I don't get miserably ill when I'm there. So like in the end, after I came back, I was like, I don't know. I think you could just kind of I'm not saying like there's obviously a lot to experience in a place like Morocco, but
Mhm.
if you want like Morocco light,
Mhm.
and you don't want any real risk of food poisoning,
Mhm. Go to
Granada is
Granada.
right there.
Yeah.
And like
Mhm.
it's Spain, you can use the euro,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
yeah, so I love that the really old part and like the Alhambra is awesome. Like I go every time, never get tired of it. I don't know, it's a beautiful place. And
It is.
yeah, so
It is. And I haven't been to Granada, so I cannot comment on that. But I've been to a few towns and cities. Very
well,
beautiful.
the best thing about Granada, which I
Mm,
didn't
tell me.
know when I went there, but obviously tapa culture is huge in Spain.
Yes.
In Granada, when you go to any bar, you order a drink and you
Mm-hmm.
get a free tapa with every drink.
Oh,
They
very
have
nice.
whatever tapa that they give,
Mm-hmm.
but it could be anything. Like there, some places it's just like a plate of olives, but
Yeah.
some places they'll give you like a mini hamburger.
Ooh.
Or there was one place that would give you a sushi tapa,
Hmm.
with like two pieces of sushi for each drink, and it's complimentary. Like that is Granada's culture. Like
That is pretty
you,
cool.
it's so cool. And as a student, it was like you knew you were gonna drink,
Mm,
but you were like food, like I should eat, but like I only have so much money, and you could just pay a couple, like a euro and a
mhm,
half for like a little glass of wine, and you just kept drinking, but they just kept bringing these little bits of food. It's
mhm.
great.
That sounds amazing. To be fair, like now you're selling me to going to Granada.
Yeah, forget everything else we said, people. Go to Granada. That
Well,
is the place to go. I freaking
yeah,
love it
that's
there.
that's the
It's
lesson. That's the lesson of
gorgeous.
this podcast so far. Yes,
But
go
wear
to
comfortable
Granada.
shoes because those roads are merciless.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yep.
winding. That is an ancient city, and you can tell.
Mm-hmm. Noted. I will definitely do that. Last question: free
All
will
right.
or destiny?
What was the first one?
Free will or destiny?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I'm more of like an existentialist person, so I like the idea of destiny a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't believe it. I think that we have to create our own, which is for the best, right? Because even though there's responsibility, like I think a lot of people would rather believe like, and I'll say I'm not a religious person. I was
Mm-hmm.
brought up in a Christian faith, but I'm not religious. Um, and actually, I think one of the big things that was tough for me was this, like, when I really asked myself, like, do I think there's like someone up there pulling the strings? I just don't believe that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
The
the more
universe.
I, yeah, like but it's so tempting. Like, it would be so comforting if I
Mm-hmm.
could truly believe that that's what's going on. I just don't. And so, yeah, like, you kind of have to be responsible for stuff. Now, I believe in like gut feelings. I
Mm-hmm.
believe in like the parts of you that know things that you don't consciously know. I put stock in that to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because there are layers of experience that we're not actively cognitively like considering. Um, but I don't think that like when you're born, your path has been set or anything.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like you worded it exactly what I always say about also not being religious.
Mm,
And you said it'd be so comforting if I believed it, but I cannot push myself to believe in it. And I'm exactly where you are. Like
yeah.
I wasn't brought up religious. Like Czech Republic is infamously one of the most atheist countries in the world per
Oh,
capita.
interesting.
Oh yeah, we are like religion has a very negative connotation because it's if you study our history, a lot of the Catholic Church did a lot of bad things throughout the
Mm,
Middle Ages,
hmm
burned people, mainly women and all that. So that was fun.
hmm
And then of course like with communism and all that. So it's like it's kind
Right.
of interlinked for many people. So we're like yeah, fuck this. But I always like when I thought about it more like as I'm growing older, I always, arrived at that same point. It's like it would be a very comforting idea to believe, hey, no matter what happens, there is a god or entity watching over me, or when I die, I'll go to a better place. It
hmm
wasn't
Yeah.
anything. Just it wasn't an all. My life wasn't just a random thing that just happened. It has some
hmm
sort of purpose. I will be. If I was a great person, I'll be rewarded. If I wasn't great, well, I'll be fucked. But hey, there's always a chance. And but I never could push myself to be like. But I don't really believe that.
Yeah. Right.
And again, the more you learn, the more you read, it's like you start to notice like if that was true, like proper true, why is religion so geographic based? Like how come there's no Christians in Thailand, but there's a fuck ton of like Buddhist in China? and all, how come there's many Muslim people, and in Pakistan, but not many Christian? It seems to be very
Mhm.
region based, isn't it? It's like it's almost like you born and you get introduced to a system, and most people don't question the system. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just spitballing.
I respect people who are religious. I
Hmm.
think there can be good things about it, but the other rough thing is like someone then has to be right and everyone else has to be wrong. And
That's the other thing. Yes.
I don't actually feel that way about almost anything.
Hmm.
Like I live in the gray a lot, like the liberal arts world of,
Hmm.
with a lot of political issues, a lot of existential or philosophical issues, there is not one right answer. There's
Hmm.
where are you coming from and how does where you're coming from weigh into what you think? And
Yeah.
so you have to consider those things, and religion is just too much like, okay, we have it figured out. And everyone
Hmm.
else is wrong, and worst case, you're gonna go to hell because of it. It's like,
But
yikes.
nowadays, all the major religions are trying to rebrand. Like, oh no, we respect everybody equally. We
Hmm.
yes, our book says there's only one true God, but you know what? We're gonna be fine to you. We're gonna be ace. Like, even though you cannot really think that and believe what you believe. So, like, I would say, like, to your point, I also respect, and I respect all the religious people who don't try to push their religious beliefs on me.
Right.
Like, I do respect those people, and if we can have a conversation about it, because again, like, I don't mind talking to any religious person. The moment
Hmm.
they will try to convert me, I might have an issue or two with that. But also, I think it was Ricky Gervais, the comedian, who put it very nicely. Like, he was, I think, on like Stephen Colbert, who's famously very Christian, and
Hmm.
he was like drilling him into, like, why there's nothing instead of something and all that. And he said, like, he said two things that, like, stayed with me. He said, first, if we burn down all the Bibles and all the, like, Qurans and all that, in 200 years there will be no religion, there'll be something else. But if we burn down all the science books, all the math books, in 200
Hmm.
years they'll all be back, because those are laws of nature. But also,
Hmm.
regarding the one true God, he pointed out, throughout the history, like human history, there has been over like 3,000 gods.
Hmm.
Over
Right.
easily. So he's
Hmm.
like, I'm denouncing one more than you are. That's all I'm doing. You're
Yeah.
denouncing all the 2,999 gods. I'm just, denouncing the last one too. And yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
like,
like that.
yeah, me too. Like, I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, especially lately. But, like, I always like, yeah, that's a good way to put it, because, like, if you're right, all the Buddhists are wrong, all the Islam people are wrong, like all the other
Hmm.
religions, like Jews, all the other religions are wrong.
Hmm.
So hey, I feel like it's gonna be the same. How much do you remember before you were born? It's probably, so what happens after you're dead? It's gonna be pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember. I don't know about you, but I don't remember much before. I remember zero.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Yeah,
Nothing at all.
but maybe we are just not the chosen ones. Maybe.
Yeah, and like I I would like to think I still live in a way that you would think I believe someone's watching. Like I want to do right by other people,
Hmm.
not because Santa won't give me presents come Christmas, but because it's the right thing to do.
And see, this is so funny, because like you think a lot like me. Like, this is also what I've been talking to my now wife, because she's a bit
Mm,
more religious, but not also like heavy religious. And I've always told her, like, I wouldn't want to go into a world, like, let's say I die and there is a God, right?
hmm.
Whatever the name of the God is, I don't care. And
Hmm.
if he sees, like, I try to live a decent life, and if he genuinely sees, like, oh yeah, you've tried to live, given the cards you've been dealt with, like, you tried your best, but you didn't bow down to me every Sunday in church, right? That's why I'm not gonna let you in. And I'm like, and to me that
And
was
I will torture you forever.
yeah, and that was my, and that's my argument. I don't want to go to heaven if the God is truly that petty. If there is an
No.
actual supernatural, mighty, all powerful, all knowing, all great being, don't tell me they are that fucking petty. That if the atheist who lived a decent life but didn't believe in that person or being,
Mm.
If they are really that petty, if they wouldn't let them in, I don't want to fucking go. Like, that's not all powerful or natural or great God. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like surely there must be like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like, we're cool. Like, you were wrong. You were wrong about this one thing, mate.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see you done fairly well. That's about it. And so like that was always my point. Like, I wouldn't want to go anyway. Like, if genuinely somebody is as petty as that, but you never kneel down, bend the knee. Jon
Yeah.
Snow, bend the knee.
Right.
But anyway, before we move to the Flix part of the podcast, do you have any controversial takes or hot takes or controversial views you would like to share with us?
So I think we already covered a number of
Mm-hmm.
what could be argued hot takes. This
Correct.
kind of goes back to the work thing. So, and I don't, I won't harp on this too much, but
Mm-hmm.
something that does bother me a lot, like again, as a professional who's been working really hard for like going on a decade now,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I work in IT, so I'm now working mostly with bots, which are like computer programs. It's not AI. But
Mm-hmm.
my work, like most sectors, is definitely eyeing AI and
Yes.
being like, ooh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
interested in this. Like, what can it do for me? And like environmental stuff aside, which is very troubling, I'm not like all against AI, but
Mm-hmm.
what I am against and what bothers me a lot is the fact that inevitably, as AI continues to take over and become more popular in this world, I feel like we have this incredible opportunity to pivot toward a reality where people don't have to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually
Mm-hmm.
am in favor of creating a society where work is more optional,
Mm-hmm.
but like where everyone gets a universal base income
Mm-hmm.
and where, we create a world that works for us. And when I say us, I mean everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care if you work a day in your life, you would get a house and food. Um, and if you want to work, have fun,
Yeah.
but you don't need to work. Because, like, we are reaching a point as a society, we're so advanced that, like, this is in our, it's close, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
we could create a society where all of these things about, like, well, I'm, overworked and whatever. And if I ever have a child, I'm gonna have like 4 weeks of maternity leave and never even know my baby, like all this crap. Like, that's where
Mm-hmm.
we are. AI could change all of that. It could, but
Mm-hmm.
that is not what we're doing.
Oh.
And
Mm-hmm.
what makes me angriest
Mm-hmm.
is that the place where AI seems to be moving and developing the fastest is to replace jobs that people want.
Mm-hmm.
And that offends me so greatly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, stay away from art,
Yeah.
creativity
Mm-hmm.
that is not yours.
Mm-hmm.
It's what makes us us. But we could be doing everything else.
Yep.
You could do
Yep.
everything else. So anyway, that's my hot take.
So I'll give you the stereotypical American answer. Haley, I didn't
Mhm.
know you were a communist. Because,
Socialist, Canadian.
well, yeah, yeah. Well, no, this is screaming. What do you mean? Who is this us in this sentence? Who is this free?
Hmm.
I hear free accommodation, free food, free market.
Heck
What
yeah.
is this? Why, like this is no longer socialism, young lady. This is communism. Okay, let me
Certainly
tell
it's
you.
knocking on the door.
Yeah, let me tell you something about communism. No, realistically, you're 100% correct. Realistically, and we've seen it. Like the problem with that is our current system, capitalism.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. And again, I've heard all the arguments. Oh, well, capitalism, is the greatest system ever because it lifted so many people out of poverty and all that, and it's the only true system that works. And I'm like, yes, to an extent.
Right. And
And
it's really not
last,
working anymore.
I was gonna say, and the last about 20 years now, the guarding rails that kind of were in a place. So you could argue even 30 and 40, really there were
Hmm.
like rules in place where if you made certain amount of money you were taxed. Companies couldn't just they didn't have record profits that they just kept to themselves.
Hmm.
So this unfettered, unbridled capitalism that keeps on growing, that machine that's swallowing all of us and doesn't feed us back, doesn't give many things back to us, and then, who gets the blame? The immigrants, the poorest of the poor. I was like, look, they are trying to steal your job. Not the, it's forget about the Amazons of the world who are not paying fucking all because of a lot
Right.
of loopholes. Forget about
Hmm.
the billionaires who could, solve, let's say in America, Elon Musk right now could end
Oh yeah.
homelessness, could
Hmm.
feed everybody, and could still his net worth would still be second richest person in the world, probably maybe even still the first. Like the amount of that things that that he could do for a better of most Americans would be amazing, but he doesn't choose to do that. And it's that kind of like I'm waiting for the moment the trickle down economy will start to work. We are in like what, fourth decade now,
Yeah, I
and
know.
it's like any day now, right? Like any day. And maybe if we give them more tax, more like cuts, and maybe if we give them a bit more money to keep, maybe. And with the AI stuff, yeah, AI can. I agree with what you said. Like it shouldn't make art. It should be a tool. It shouldn't
Hmm.
replace people. But realistically, it will replace many people. So what will happen with those people? Because even before AI, there was like many automatization processes in place all over the world where we were losing the entry level jobs,
Yep.
right? Like
Hmm.
we are even before any AI came about. I already said give it back in 2015, 16. I was like, give it like 10 years, and a big like let's say grocery stores, they will be able to operate with 5 people maybe, if that, instead of 50. But
We were
wherever all
having
the
these conversations
yeah,
in college about like the need for a base universal
yeah,
income, and
yeah,
that's where it comes from. Even
mm-hmm,
before AI was on the map, it was that
mm-hmm,
we are trending in the direction of most jobs don't need to be done by people. And
mm-hmm,
I don't think we should totally push back against that necessarily.
mm-hmm,
We just need to make concessions in other areas of life, and obviously life would look different.
mm-hmm.
It would.
And again, like but realistically, and you mentioned the important point, and I think this is where we can get into like very philosophical debate. We, as a humanity, we can live in this like Star Trek universe where there's no money
Mhm.
and everybody's happy. But the only thing that prevents us from doing that is ourselves.
Yes.
Because,
Right.
how many people would still, do work for free, would still go and make cars or computers or chips or whatever
Mhm.
just for food and like, and like roof over their head? Is that all you can give me? Look, back then I used to be somebody. Now, fuck it, I'm not gonna go. And that kind
Mm.
of like, I feel like that individualism is, killing a lot of good things we could have as everybody. Like
Yeah.
there is a famous like experiment on like some university. There was a professor that all apparently like, he's done it for like 20, 30 years, and it never worked. And he tells the students like, so we have this one last exam coming up. We can either take the exam and you will all take your grades. So some of you will fail, some of you will succeed.
Mhm. Mhm.
Or I can give everybody like, what was it, like a B plus or like C, but that
Mm.
means everybody passed. But
Mm.
the trick is you need to all unanimously agree for that. If there's only one person against that, will not do it. And
Yeah.
in his about 20, 30 years, there was not once a class that everybody agreed to actually go for a certain thing, because there was always few people like, well, I worked hard for this.
Mm.
Why would I have to have the
I'm
same
doing well.
grade? Yes, why would I have the same grade as this person who hasn't worked as hard for, so why would I, suffer the fate of this peasant who's obviously well below me? And I'm
Yep.
like, this is why we cannot have that.
Yeah, there is a lot of philosophical quandaries that you
Mm-hmm.
run into about identity, consumerism,
Yep.
individualism, like all these things that you're talking about. And it's so true. It's just frustrating because it's like we're saying, this is happening,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's happening. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not that we're asking to upend the world order for no reason. It's that we are replacing people's jobs. We
Mm-hmm.
are making people's jobs irrelevant.
Yep.
but we're not giving them anything else to do.
Nope.
And we're making the standard of living exponentially higher. It's just like, so, as radical as what I'm saying sounds, what I'm
Hmm.
suggesting is that you subsidize lives so that if your job goes away, because they're
Hmm.
gonna keep going away,
Hmm.
that people aren't destitute. Heaven forbid.
But again, that's that goes back to like what we talked about the expatriates and like how they would never call themselves immigrants
Yeah.
until they are in that
Mm-hmm.
position. It's
Mm-hmm.
the like was it Arkansas? There was a couple of months ago where basically they all the farmers voted for Donald Trump because he promised them A, B, and C. Obviously,
Oh, it's
and we
across the country.
and
Yeah.
we knew it was bullshit, and they were hit the hardest when it comes to his tariffs and all that good
Hmm.
stuff. So then they were begging for socialism in form of government subsidies. So yeah, but those are the same people who are like, no, but socialism doesn't work, communism is bad, we live in America, okay, free market. But until it touches their families and their farms, suddenly it's like, oh no, government, take care of me, please, gimme, gimme, gimme. And
Oh,
that's
and
the kind of
where are
hypocrisy.
my undocumented immigrants who I
Yeah.
was employing
Oh
this whole
yeah.
time?
Same in a, by the way, same here in a post Brexit the UK. The amount of time I always heard, well, these Europeans fucking come here and pick our strawberries and apples, and then our young people cannot do these jobs, right? No, well, okay, so now nobody comes in,
I was gonna
and
say, is
year
Timothy from down the street picking the
yes,
strawberries? I don't
no,
think so.
and year after year, I ever since Brexit happened, so 4 years now, yeah, we're 4 years into this, great.
Hmm.
And the year after year, we have like every July, June, you see the reports like this strawberry farm needs to bin 3 tons of fresh strawberries because they literally don't have the power to collect them all. And the farmer was even said, I'm offering people £20 per hour, which is much more than minimum wage. That's
Hmm.
like some IT jobs don't get that, but it's a grueling job. You need to be there for
Yeah,
12
it's
hours.
hard.
So many fucking people, young, older, doesn't matter. British here don't want to do it. Look, I'm sorry that that's a stereotype, but it's a stereotype for a reason. Most British people see this job as underneath them, below them.
Yeah.
So, and it's a back-breaking job. Suddenly, oh, my knees fucking hurt. Even though I'm
Physically, a
20.
lot of people can't do that work.
But I'm talking about young people. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go. Like, I know from
Even
my
them,
experience, yes, but I
if
know,
they've spent all their time inside, they'd probably pass out there.
yeah. But even from my experience, like I gone through like when I started and I moved here, I was a student and I did a lot of part-time jobs. Even from my experience, the amount of people who look down on me or others, like oh, you work in a fast food place,
Hmm.
and I'm like, yeah, because I need to pay my bills. I'm not fucking passionate about working in fucking Burger King.
Right.
Like this is not my career. I just need to. But they would never go there because that's like below them. I think now,
Yep.
like, look, I think to be fair, I think that's kind of changing with the younger generation. But there is still like the stigma and stereotype with the older generation, and
Mm.
that's the kind of paradox where at least be honest about it. If
Yeah.
somebody is if he like I would rather talk with honest racist than like inhonest polite person. Like if I at least know, oh, you're racist but you're honest about it, we can have some sort of conversation. But if you're trying to bullshit me into my face, it's like, yeah, I'm not like that. And then like, okay, go do that job. No, I can't do that. Why?
Yeah, it's hard. I think we're also just so separated from so much of what makes our reality our reality. And as a
Mm-hmm.
vegetarian, I mean, I won't even go in the direction of like, does the average person really know like where your meat comes from? But like
Mm-hmm.
that's an extreme example, but it really is the same thing about farms. Like,
No, yeah, factory
what do
farming, we
I
know
know
that.
about picking a tomato? Like, I
Yeah.
want a fresh tomato on my salad.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
want all of these, and I'm addicted to mango. You can't even grow that here. It has to be shipped from like another country. And yet I'm like, there's no mango at the store. It's
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I am as
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but truly, like, something has to change.
I
So,
have these conversations like especially with my mom, and I'm like, look, I genuinely feel like there's gonna be like a major, like, I don't know if revolution is a thing, like the correct word to say, but I genuinely like because now in the UK, and I think now in America, you guys also cross this historical threshold.
Mm,
And apparently, every time this threshold gets crossed, soon there is a revolution. And which the threshold is over 1 million young people are not
mm,
in either employment or education. And now
hmm
in the UK, apparently we have crossed that. And historically, if you read your historical, history books, every time that happened in the past, what do young people who have nothing to live for, nothing to lose do? They rebel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and when the chasm of wealth is so vast between the wealthiest of us and us, I don't think neither of us is particularly poor, but I don't think we are, we are, I think both of us are much closer to being homeless than being Elon Musk level. Like,
Certainly.
so, like, like, yeah, I feel like something's gonna change. Whether that change is gonna be for better or worse, yeah, don't know.
Well, I hope you're right insofar as I do think something has to change, and I think while we still have a democracy, I'd like to see people,
Well, yeah, you guys
you know.
are slightly different thing as well. With your democracy is kind of like in shambles a bit. Yeah, like laws are not really applicable to certain people. Yeah, yeah, that kind of stuff. That is
But
true.
yeah, I think we need a big ol' shakeup, and I mean it should honestly, millennials are suffering too, so like I
Hmm.
just, I know people who have gotten laid off and it takes them like a year to find another decent job,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No, same here. Like the job market where I live is fucking awful. And
Yeah.
that's the other thing we haven't even touched on. Like, and my mom's generation, like, 30 something years back, 40 something years back, if you had a degree from university, damn, you were important person, right? You were
Mm.
somebody. But nowadays, you throw a rock and you hit five people with useless degrees, but they have degrees.
I
And
have
if
a
everybody
master's
has a
in
degree,
globalization.
and see, and if everybody has a degree, nobody has a degree. It's like
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
suddenly you need a degree even for the entry level jobs. And I was like, what?
Right. To
You,
to basically be a glorified admin.
yeah, it's like, oh, we need this and we need 5 years of experience. We need this and this. And I'm like, what? For entry level job for minimum wage? Get fucked. Like, honestly, this is not sustainable. I don't. Yeah, I think you're right. Definitely not sustainable. But people need to, the commoners, the peasants, us, we need to do something about it.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
we learned from COVID, that's the only thing that works when the world actually stops to a halt.
hmm
That's when the corporations start to panic, when nobody is buying their stuff. So, but yeah. Anyway, that was a good debate, I think.
Great.
Do you wanna move to the Flix part of the podcast, or do you have
Yeah,
any
let's do
other?
that.
All right,
No, I think that sounds good. I mean, I think a lot of the themes we touched on may or may not
Mm-hmm.
surface as we talk about movies, because what
Okay.
are movies if not, you know, a
Yeah.
way for us to process the best movies make us process things that are worth thinking about.
Correct. And with that thought, I'll ask you, Haley, what is the last new movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything 2020.
Mhm. So I will give you two answers here. I've seen some 5 out of 5 movies, but the movie that I want to bring up here
Mm-hmm.
is my favorite movie that I've seen most recently, which is Poor Things,
Nice.
with Emma Stone.
Mm.
And I did just see Begonia, which I really liked as well.
I still haven't
Um,
seen that one, so yeah, but I've
I
Poor
recommend it.
Things.
It's good.
Yes.
Kinds of Kindness was like a little far out, but
Mm-hmm.
I think he's like back on track with Begonia. Though I
Yeah.
really thought that was excellent. But Poor Things is in a league of its own. Like this is one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite movies ever. Like
Mm-hmm.
I actually saw it with my dad, which is for anyone who's seen this movie, it's not ideal, right? But
Nope.
my dad and I are like the type of relationship we have. He's like a psychologist, and we've always had very like, you know, he's good at treating me like an adult, and so it was not nearly as weird as it should have been
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we are both mature and could kind of like appreciate the movie. But I loved this movie so much. Um, I mean, it brought up so many fascinating philosophical
Mm-hmm.
ideas, and being like someone who came from a liberal arts background, I had toyed with going into academia, and like this just dredged up stuff that I hadn't thought about in years, and like I broke out some of my old like cultural studies texts, like
Mm-hmm.
my feminism stuff. and was
Hmm.
like, reeling about it. But it's just a masterpiece. Like
Yep.
I've watched it a number of times since, and I just love it more every time I see it.
So I've only watched it the one time in a cinema.
Hmm.
It came here, Perks of Living in the UK. Many times we get this movie pretty much the same time as you guys, but
Hmm.
with some other like Poor Things. I remember that premiered in the United States like end of November, beginning of December, right around that time. So
Hmm.
everybody I know and follow on Letterboxd, they've already seen it, they loved it, and for some reason in the UK it didn't come until like beginning of January. So like yeah, it's a month. So like woo fucking do you have to wait a month? Yeah, but like it is a bit annoying, but it
Maybe the
is
hype is kind of like dies
yes.
down and people are thinking about it.
But also like I like look, it is the most first world problem. 100% it is, but it is my first world problem. Okay,
Yeah,
and but it's a
that's fair.
yeah. But I'll say yeah no. So I say like from the opening, like the music, the paintings. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be that kind of movie. And then like Mark Ruffalo yells cunt a lot, and I'm like,
Oh my
this
God.
is my movie. That's just and like Emma Stone from being this like infant to grown woman and her journey. It is a great movie. I that was one of my favorites of the like 2023. Yeah, that
Hmm.
was a great movie. I need to rewatch it. My funny enough, my now wife tried to watch it on Disney Plus because here it's available on Disney Plus.
Oh, interesting.
She couldn't get past the first like 10 minutes. It was like too much for her.
It
So
is
I'm
a
like,
lot.
yes, and she's a very like chill person. If we cannot watch very dramatic things because she sometimes gets a bit
Yeah.
too like no. So I'm like, okay, that's fair, but it's a great movie.
I have
So
trouble recommending it to people, but I'm like, and I just tell them, like, first of all, there's a lot of sex in this movie. Like, this
yes,
movie will make you uncomfortable, but you have to view it as like an allegory type
hmm
thing. Like, it's
hmm
ask yourself, like, what stories, and you kind of have to watch the whole thing and then like
yes,
contemplate it. And
yes,
yes, you're in there for a lot of it being like, what the hell? But it's also so funny. Like, Mark
hmm
Ruffalo had
yes.
me dying. He's so over the top.
I was so happy that that he took this kind of role because it's so
He
against
killed
like
it.
yeah like so against most things he's been doing recently, which I
Mm-hmm.
like Mark Ruffalo, but that was so against his type, and to play this bad guy, which he was, and
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, and just Emma Stone. That year it was so hard between her and what is her name from Killer of the Flower Moon, the who was
I know who you're
nominated.
talking about, but I'm the worst with
Yeah,
people's names.
and yeah, like I'm just blanking on her name, but like it was a neck and neck race. It was a flip of a coin, and it landed Emma's way. Like I was kind of hoping for a tie because I thought they
Mm,
would both deserve it, and it happened like three times at the Oscars already. So like a tie is not that unusual, even though only three times. But no,
mm.
like Emma, you cannot argue with Emma Stone winning that year. Like such a
What she had to
powerhouse.
do,
Yes,
like
it's such a
what that
powerhouse
character
performance.
was, is
Mm-hmm.
insane.
Yep, yep. And so no, Poor Things, great movie. That's an excellent choice. So let's keep it rolling. What is the
Hmm.
last quote unquote teen movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything between 2003 and 2019.
So I recently did a chat with Shane about Mike Flanagan movies slash shows. Um,
Nice.
for Halloween,
Mm-hmm.
like he was indulging me because I'm a big scary movie fan. Um, and Mike Flanagan,
It's
like
great.
especially in the show world, like talk about some of the best shows. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
he knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's got it figured out. But I ended up watching a movie he made very early on in his career in 2011 called Absentia.
I
Um,
haven't seen that. Okay.
I had never heard of it. Shane hadn't seen it, which
That's rare. That is rare.
I have to wake up real early in the morning to bring a movie to the party that Shane has not seen.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, like, it was a 5 out of 5 for me, which
Mm.
is rare for scary movies. But so I'll give everyone a little tease here in case you're a
Please do.
scary movie person, you like scary movies. This feels low budget because it is. Like, it is not up to the caliber of much of what Mike Flanagan does.
Mm-hmm.
But usually there are things about scary movies that annoy me. Um, if the acting isn't very good, that is annoying. If the story doesn't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
and that those things happen a lot. Um, And then if they try to do too much without like being able to really execute on it, because horror is like a supernatural, like they go into anything could happen, but you
Hmm.
got to be able to like convincingly convey what you're trying to do,
Yeah.
or because scary movies can almost be better if you don't show,
Hmm.
like if you restrain what you show.
Yes.
And this movie just knew what it was working with.
Hmm.
And like, in my opinion, like it absolutely achieved what it was supposed to achieve and more. Like with being a very low budget movie that like people, a group of people could get together for the most part and make this movie. It's like Creep. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Like,
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. No, but I've heard of that movie. I had never heard of Absentia.
I mean, maybe I was just like in the right mood. I
Okay.
don't know, but the very basic premise. And so like there's also a fair amount of, emotional stuff that goes on in this, and
Hmm.
they really get into some deep topics.
Hmm.
Uh the idea is this woman, her husband's been missing
Hmm.
for 7 years. She's no idea what happened to him, but she's finally trying to move on with her life, and she's trying to apply for like to consider him dead in absentia.
Mm.
Um, and it's like, she's at this pivotal moment. Her sister comes over. Her sister has had her own issues, and like, they love each other, but they also have very convincing like sibling issues. And it's just like emotional, and it gets into like bureaucratic stuff without being boring. Like it's,
Hmm.
but anyway, there's like something, like clearly something happened to this man. They don't understand it, but it starts to almost get dredged up by this process. Um, and Mike Flanagan is really good at like showing stuff in the background that
Yeah,
the characters can't see, which I find to be very effective as a scary tactic. And
it
it's low
is.
budget. Like
Hmm.
you don't need almost anything, but he's got, so like his influence is there in that. And again, like just everything about this movie, like when it starts, you're like, this is low budget. Like
Hmm.
the production quality is lower. But
Hmm.
I don't know, man. It was just like I don't want to say a perfect scary movie, but like it hit all the boxes. And it's so rare for me to see a scary movie where I'm like, I don't think I'd change anything about that. Like I think
Hmm.
that was no notes.
Yeah. So without seeing the movie, I like to your point about a budget and like how low budget it was. Many times, especially for horror movies, that actually can work in their favor because
Hmm.
like if it looks a bit grungy, if it looks a bit
Hmm.
like unpolished, it
Hmm.
almost makes it feel real, like more even
Yes.
like or more real than like your hey, this is the actor I know from many movies. This is the
Right.
actress I know. Oh, look at how nice and polished this camera is, right? Which again,
Hmm.
like no shade thrown anywhere. Like great movies being made. But like especially for horror, the smart filmmakers, the low budgets and no money are not really limitations. They
Hmm.
take them as almost like their advantage. They
Hmm.
they use it as a weapon rather than like for them to attack rather than to have that weapon bludgeon them. And I find that fascinating. And with Mike Flanagan, I only this year I finally watched Hush, his
Mm.
movie. Have
That's a
you?
good one.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I'm like, damn, that was also like minimum budget. I think probably good. Like but like it's a great horror movie. It's a great wee movie that just sets out to do one thing and one thing only and does it very well.
Yeah.
Great. And like
Yeah.
so and him, I always thought like Oculus is another one with Karen Gillan before she
Hmm.
became like Guardian of the Galaxy. Like I thought that's an underrated movie about that's pretty scary, and like the ending was quite good, and I was like, oh. So like but with him, like I am very intrigued to go and check this out. I still haven't seen the non-horror movie he came out with this year, Life of Chuck, which I hear
Mm.
great things about. But yeah, like he seems to be the new kind of Stephen King guy.
Yeah, and Stephen King is in pretty good hands with him. Like I'm a
Hmm.
huge Stephen King fan,
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
think you really need to know what you're doing to
Yeah.
try to tackle. I've been like very disappointed with certain things,
Hmm.
but Life of Chuck is interesting because it's a short story, which I
Hmm.
actually think for a movie, you should probably go with a shorter, like short story to novella for Stephen King.
Hmm.
Whenever they try to make a full movie out of his books that are like thousands of pages, I'm like, that just don't. Now we've got shows. Do a
Yes.
show.
Yes. Yes.
Do a
Yes.
whole show.
Yeah. Correct.
Um,
Correct.
but Life of Chuck is insanely true to the source material. It's actually
Hmm.
really interesting. I think it's good. I
Hmm.
think the story is good. It's like not scary at all. It's very sweet.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it.
But yeah, no. So to your point, I have checked. It's not streaming anywhere. Where I have like this app that tells me if something's streaming on. I have like 5 or 6 streaming platforms
Hmm
I pay for.
hmm
It's not streaming on any of them, which is great.
Dang,
That's
we
why
have it
I'm.
on Netflix here.
Well, that's why God invented VPN.
There we go. I
You
mean,
know.
definitely check it out.
No. Yeah.
Again, like I'd be curious to know how someone else feels about it because maybe I just was like in the right mood for it or something, but
But hey,
it
you like
really,
what you
I was
like.
impressed.
You like what you like. I'm always of the mind where if you like something and many people don't like it, fuck them. Like you like
Fair
what you
enough.
like. Like art, like movies. We often forget it's the most accessible form of art, but it's still a form of
Hmm
art.
Oh,
Just
yes.
because it's not a mainstream thing to like this picture or to dislike this very liked picture, that doesn't mean you're correct or incorrect. That just means that's your feeling about it, and I'm much more interested why it didn't work or it worked for you. Like like in
hmm
this case, like why
hmm
something works so beautifully for you and maybe doesn't work for others. And like as long as you can tell me, oh, it worked because A, B, C, and I had this, rather than I don't know, it just worked, and I'm like, well, that's the discussion over.
Yeah, right.
you know. No, but I'll definitely remember that and check it out because Mike Flanagan is an interesting guy, and I need to check out more movies of his because yeah, like what he's done with several of them I've seen, I was very impressed. He's a very talented guy. So,
Awesome.
what is the last adult, quote unquote, adult movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything 2002 and 1975.
Yeah, so I I have seen this before, but I
Mm-hmm.
recently rewatched as an adult Raising Arizona, which is one of my dad's faves. Um,
Nice.
it was just so good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Nicolas Cage, I mean, in that movie, he was probably younger than I was watching it,
Mm-hmm.
which was mind-blowing to me, but he's just this like absolute mess. And the whole
Yep.
movie, I have a soft spot for these like I kind of like movies where all the characters are kind of bad. Um,
Yep.
I don't know what it is. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is also Snatch by Guy Ritchie. Uh,
Nice.
it's just like when everyone's a little crooked, I don't
Mm-hmm.
know, it just makes everything a little different and
It feels
I
more
don't know.
personal, like relatable.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
everyone and then if something goes sideways, you're kind of like, well, yeah,
they had it coming.
we kind of did.
Yeah.
And so it's just like levels of like bad in this
Mhm. Mhm.
movie. It's like everyone's bad. But my dad will always say that like the bounty hunter character is like one of the most evil people in like his cinematic history like that he knows of. And just like seeing that guy, I'm like, wow, this is so
Mhm.
true. This guy is like so over the top, comically
Mhm.
horrible.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just loved it. It was like it knew exactly what it was doing and it was silly and yeah. That should be like a staple.
Mhm.
I'll probably pull that out every couple of years.
Nice. I That's another one I need to rewatch because I've watched it only once about I want to say almost a decade ago now. So like it's
Hmm
at least 8 years I think, and maybe more. And I
hmm
remember liking it. Like I'm high on that movie, but I wasn't like fully in love with it. But I wonder how it played now. Like because I've now grown to appreciate Coen Brothers a bit more.
hmm
So I feel like now it would play much better. Like even like where I would like not just quote unquote like it, but I might actually love it. So I definitely want to give it another shot, especially like look, Nick Cage can be Nick Cage or very Nick Cage. He's got like a
Yes.
few different speeds, but all of them are Nick Cage. But we love him
Absolutely.
for it. Like we love him for it, and I love that kind of redemption arc he's seems to be having for the last 5 years. I'm like, the projects he's choosing and the performances. I'm like, all right, Nick Cage is back.
He's doing what he wants to do. That I will give him. And when that is long legs, I
I still
say
haven't seen that one. I
you do.
still haven't seen that one.
It's it's great. But
I heard it's
it's Nick Cage,
interesting.
man.
Yes. Like
I think it's
I
polarizing.
yeah, no, no. Yeah, like it's definitely mixed.
I
Yeah,
liked
I
it.
know. I know. Yeah. The one I was going to bring up is the movie Pig. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Like that performance he puts in as this used to be chef who just cares about his pigs so much. Like genuinely, if he was nominated that year for an Oscar, I would be like, yeah, that kind of makes sense because that is the level of Nick Cage we haven't seen in like almost 2 decades, I would say. Like maybe since like the adaptation. Like
Yeah, when he's like really, when he was just allowed to be completely unhinged and
yes,
no one was
yeah.
trying to like put him in any kind of box.
Yes, yes, and he didn't have to pay all the like taxes and IRS like so now he actually can make even these like low budget movies where they pay him next to nothing but he can actually act. Helps.
hmm
But no,
hmm
that his performance in Pig, like he might make you cry about a fucking pig. Like that's like that like there's a scene in a restaurant and he explains like food and what he means to him to this guy, and I'm like,
mm
that just talks about food but also talks about life, talks about like
hmm
this experience we all are having, and it's coming from Nick Cage, and this is not unhinged in Nick Cage. This is just like, yeah, I'm gonna give it to you raw and you will like it, and I'm like, okay, I did like it. Like, no, Pig is a great movie, and Raising Arizona, this is one of his earliest ones where it's like, oh yeah,
hmm
this guy, he is a bit crazy but he's fun. Let's watch
Yeah.
him for a bit. Let's watch him for a bit, and then give him an Oscar for playing an alcoholic.
Yeah, I was just gonna say he just acts drunk, but like it's still really funny.
And then he literally acts drunk in Leaving Las Vegas, and he gets an Oscar for it. Which that's a hell of a performance too, by the way. I don't know if you've
Yeah,
seen that.
he deserves he deserves credit. Like when he's on point, and again, it's not anyone else's point. It's his specific point.
Yes.
You gotta respect it. And I do.
Mhm.
I do
Mhm.
respect it.
Mhm.
He's got like a pretty diverse body of work, and I haven't even
Oh
scratched
yeah.
the surface, it feels like half the time, but I have some friends who are big fans of his, so we'll like
Mhm.
find occasion to crack open something weird. But I did see Longlegs in theaters because it's a scary movie and I was interested.
Mhm.
Um, and it was scary. It
Mhm.
was effective. It was very weird and not like I think of the people I went to see it with, like two-thirds of them were like, nope. I was like, oh, I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
It's
But
on my queue. It's on my queue, so I'll watch it. But it just like there's so many things on my queue. It's just hard to get
yeah,
around it. You know.
yeah. And I think I'd put Absentia above that just in the like
Okay.
I feel I would like more people to know about that movie. I think it
100%.
deserves more hype than it has gotten.
Okay. All right. I'll remember that. Uh, with that, what is the last quote unquote old movie you would rate 5 out of 5? So anything 1974 and older.
Yeah, this one was tricky for me because I don't watch a lot of old movies, but when I thought about it, I realized there were a couple classics from my childhood that were
Hmm.
like staples that I
Okay.
watched over and over again.
Hmm.
One is The Sword and the Stone, which
Okay.
I looked it up. It's 1963. Um, that's just it's just a classic, like,
Hmm.
about little King Arthur and the sword, and
Yeah.
then Merlin is such a goofball.
Hmm.
Um, it's just a fun little kids movie. And I didn't really like, I mean, for how old it was, like even when I was watching it, like 30 years later, I was like, this is great. Like I'm
Hmm.
enjoying this. Um, and then also the Lorax, the original, which is 1972.
I didn't even
Um,
know there's a Lorax that's not the new one. Oh,
yes,
okay.
there is. And that was there were a couple movies from my childhood that were very formative to me.
Hmm.
Um, and this was one of them. I mean, I've not seen the new one, but
Hmm.
like, and I think that Lorax movie, it's short. I don't
Hmm.
even know if it's a full hour, but it tells the story and it doesn't sugarcoat it. Like, there's a darkness to it all, and
Hmm.
a sadness to it. But I remember like really feeling like the injustice of what has happened to this
Hmm.
beautiful world that they've destroyed because of industrialization.
Yeah.
So yeah, that movie, like, it does exactly what it sets out to do, and I feel like back then they didn't pull their punches as much as they do now.
Nope. Nope,
So
they did not.
I think kids should probably watch that one. I haven't
Hmm.
seen the new one. Maybe
The new one
it's
is fine. Like, I watched it once and I already don't remember most of it. So because it's one of those
mm.
movies that's like you will watch, and then a week later you're like, have I watched this? I think I have.
Yeah.
But see, like I didn't even know there was a new, sorry, old one. Like, so I need
hmm
to look it up because that intrigues me.
It might be on YouTube. I don't know. I don't remember how my parents
Hmm.
like how they had it, but maybe it was like a collection of a couple Dr. Seuss things or something. But
Hmm. Hmm. But
yeah.
no, to your point, like, yeah, movies from 70s, 60s, even 80s, kids movies, I'm talking about, they don't pull their
hmm
punches. It's like, oh yeah,
Mm-mm.
this person or this animal dies, and you deal with it, kid. Like,
Heck yeah.
I haven't seen The Sword in a Stone. I haven't seen The Lorax. What I was brought up on was a never-ending story.
I think
And
I saw that like once or twice as a little kid.
if you have seen that, and I feel like every kid must have been traumatized by that. Artrex dying in a swamp scene, like and like just the music swelling up, and he's actually like drowning, and like the horse like seems like panicked. The kid seems fucked, and I'm like, what the fuck? What? And I was like 8 year old. I'm like, he actually just died. I was like, what the fuck? Why is it so
Oh
sad?
yeah. And then like all the like origin stories where like the Bambi or the Land Before
Mm-hmm.
Time where
Mm-hmm.
like they kill off the parent and you're like, no.
Yep, yeah. No, like most fairy tales, like the proper. Like, I'm not talking about a Disney, but the
Yes,
proper
the
like one from
originals.
16, 1700s
hmm
and further. They are dark as fuck. Like
Oh yeah.
like Hansel and Gretel. There's like cannibalism. All
hmm
that. Like
Red
Little
Riding
Mermaid.
Hood.
Yeah, like Little Mermaid. I'm pretty sure she actually kills herself, and like she kills the prince and then herself. Like she dissolves into like foam, if I'm not mistaken. That's in the original
That sounds
story.
right.
But again, that wouldn't be the Disney version. No, no, no. They
Right.
lived happily ever after because power of love. You guessed it.
hmm
You know, the most important thing of all.
This might
But
be why I'm not into rom-coms. Like I
mm,
wasn't we didn't get a lot of that. It was all I mean, my parents let me, for some reason, they let me read like actual Greek mythology and not like the
same.
cute versions. Um, and yeah, like all that stuff, for some reason they felt okay with giving me the
Hmm.
real versions. But I mean, that was the truth. And frankly, a lot of these things were supposed to be informative or cautionary, and it works a lot better when the stakes are real. So,
Hmm. Not to sidetrack too much, but this is how like I also remember reading like the Greek mythology about like the Zeus and like all the
hmm
gods, right? And
hmm
that's how I realized when I was like 8, 9. I realized, wait, these are all gods. How come we don't worship them today?
Right.
And
Exactly.
I asked my mom like, so what happened with these? Well, nobody, no, nobody worships them now. I was like, why? But that was a long time ago. I'm like, but the book, we still have them in this book. What is the difference between this and the Bible? So I was like, I was so confused. Like I was fucking 8 or 9, and I was already confused. I was like, so these goats are no longer in. They are not in fashion, but
Yep.
this one is. What? So like it never made sense to me. That was one of my first like huh? Okay. Anyway,
Really,
so
all you could say is like, well, because that's not the real one.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you're like, okay,
that's exactly it. It's not the real one. Okay, that's
sure.
those are the ones we denounced.
These are
Okay,
the
like
fun ones.
yeah, like Zeus. Nah, fuck that guy. Like
Yeah. I mean, yes, he
nah.
does suck. Some of the other ones are pretty cool, but
Yeah. So you alluded to this earlier on, so I have my
Mhm.
guess. But tell me, what is your favorite movie decade?
I don't know if this will be obvious or not, but I chose the 2010s.
Hmm.
And that is because first of all, I think it was a great time for scary movies, which again
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is one of my favorite genres. Um, I mean, from like, let me see, I have a list here. The Conjuring, the first Conjuring came out during that time.
Yep.
Sinister,
Yep.
uh, Jordan Peele, like came on the scene, who I'm a
Mm-hmm.
huge fan of his work. Ari Aster started
Yep.
freaking traumatizing us all. Just like all of when I think of like the best like scary
Elevated
movies for the
horror. Elevated horror
yeah,
movies. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like something happened in that decade. And I would argue that like subsequently the density of good stuff in that genre. I feel like there's been a lot of sequels and less like good original stuff that's
Mm-hmm.
been coming
Mm-hmm.
out. Maybe that's just me being jaded or I don't know, but and maybe it's just because that was when I was reaching the age where I was able to go to the movies with my friends instead of my parents and was kind of deciding what I liked. So there might be some bias there, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, out around that, I also think some of the really good directors who people right now are super into were also putting out some of their best stuff. Like Wes Anderson,
Mm-hmm.
Moonrise Kingdom is my favorite.
Nice.
But uh, Grand Budapest Hotel came out too, and like I would say most of his best stuff came out in the
Mm-hmm.
2010s. Uh, Same thing with Christopher Nolan. Like I think that was
Mm-hmm.
like peak, just the stuff he was putting out in that decade, in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, was even though my favorite thing by him is Memento, I just think his
Nice.
other stuff was like just like banger after banger.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
got to respect that. Um, and then I have a love, so I don't know this, I think I'm going to bring this up later, but
Mm-hmm.
I really like new age westerns, not classic westerns at
Yeah,
all.
like neo-westerns, kind of like yeah.
Yeah, and but like even just things that are like definitely westerns, but they've they've evolved into like no, everyone's like really dirty and
Yep.
everything's very dangerous and like
Yep.
this is not a good place and time to be
Mm-hmm.
alive, but
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
here's the story anyway.
Yeah.
Like True Grit is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
That is just like and movies Django,
Mm-hmm.
Hateful Eight, like there was some really good stuff again that came out in that decade. And I think that's where I realized, hey, this might be like one of my favorite things. Because I to this day I'm like not into Westerns, but
Mm-hmm.
that I'm into that.
You like that meme, like I don't really like this, but I'm very into that. Like I think it's
Yeah.
like from the Top Gear, like this car is brilliant, but I like this.
Right, exactly, exactly. So
So,
yeah, I just think it was like there was just so many good things that came out. And I'm
mm,
not saying that there haven't been good things later, but I also think 2019 in particular was like a really good year for movies, and then
yes.
2020 kind of like derailed things.
I wonder what happened in 2020. Like that derailed everything. Like
Yeah.
what happened? I wonder
Yeah.
what happened. So no, to address a couple of your points. First of all, so big Western neo-Western lover. Have you seen a movie called Bone Tomahawk?
I was going to bring up Bone Tomahawk.
Nice, nice.
That's the real deal, man. And
Yes.
when you were talking about we'll talk later about underrated directors. I did not choose this guy because I haven't seen anything else by him.
Mm-hmm.
But that movie, like,
Yep.
wow,
Stays with you.
so good at what it was setting out to do.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
obviously there are things about that movie that I cannot unsee. And like I don't mind gore. Obviously, I watch
Mm-hmm.
scary movies, but like even I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to watch this again, but I think I'll do this for that one part that I think we both know about.
So you
But no,
into
that movie was excellent.
yes. So you're into horror, or as you call them, scary movies. But every time, by the way, but every time you say scary movie, I just think of the scary movie, the parody. So I'm like, oh wait, no, she actually means horrors. Okay.
No, I mean like yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
the
no.
horror
Yeah, yeah,
genre.
yeah, yeah.
Not that I don't appreciate the scary movie franchise for
Oh
what
no,
it
the
is.
the first three are bona fide classics. The first
Yeah,
three are great. The fourth,
yeah.
the fifth, no. Anyway,
I didn't even get
besides the
that far.
point. No, I really love the fact that you said your favorite Nolan movie is Memento. That
Hmm.
is very good take. I wouldn't know if it's my favorite, but like with Nolan, I've said it before. I'll say it again. He's got like 7 or 8 movies where if you tell me this is my number one of his, I'll be like that makes sense. And Memento is 100% one of them. If
Hmm.
you tell me Interstellar is yours, yeah. Inception, yeah. Prestige, yeah. Dark
Hmm.
Knight, yeah. Oppenheimer,
Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
Like he's got this impressive list where most directors have like the obvious like one or two standouts. And it's like, yeah, it's between one or two. He's got like seven or eight.
Yeah.
I know people who
It's not even
love
fair.
Dunkirk. Yes,
I
exactly.
liked Dunkirk a lot.
Exactly. Me too. Me too.
Hmm.
But you know, any director's filmography, that would be the clear standout. What he does with time in that movie, like how then you figure out, oh wait, you watch 1 week, 1 day, and 1 hour, and you somehow he aligns it beautifully, and then there's a
Hmm.
beautiful like home, and there is like the boats that come to help. That's just that moment stays with you, and especially when it's actually based on a real life story. You know, that's what you know people of Britain used to do. They stand up for each other. Well, it was a nice time. But yeah, no, that's fascinating. So, and your love for horror, interesting. That's. Can I ask,
Hmm.
what is your opinion on? There's this movie called The Substance from last year.
Mm,
So you
yes.
don't like body horror, some or not? I presume because you said the thing about a bone tomahawk, you prefer like a spooky supernatural as opposed to like body horror. Am I correct?
Yeah, but I will
Okay.
say, like, body horror with a purpose
Mm-hmm.
is, I'm there for it. I mean, really, like,
Mm-hmm.
Poor Things, while it's not graphic, it still definitely, like, hints at a lot of that stuff, but I think it's
Mm-hmm.
effective and important. Um, no, I thought The Substance was excellent, and I am pretty upset that Demi Moore didn't win the. Like,
Yeah.
I saw Nora, and I also really liked that movie,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and what is it her name? Mickey?
Yeah, Mickey Madison, yeah. Or
She
Mikey Madison. Mike, yeah,
Mike Mikey,
yeah,
that's what it
Mikey
was,
Madison,
Mikey.
yeah.
She's awesome. She
Mm-hmm.
really is. She kills it. I went to undergrad in New Jersey, so I like also appreciate her like New Yorky,
Yeah.
like New Jersey, Staten Island thing that she's got going on. Um, she killed it, but like again, like what she had to do, the character she had to play, you can't compare like
Mm-hmm.
what Demi had, like what she was doing. And so yeah, was it hard to watch? Sure. But
Mm-hmm.
for what it was trying to convey, I think that's horror well executed, and
Yeah.
I would, see things like that. Now, Bone Tomahawk didn't have to do that. They
Yeah.
didn't have to do that specific one thing. There was a lot
Yeah.
of other body horror in
Yes.
that I was totally on board with. It's like, okay, if you're gonna blow off someone's fingers, fine.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna have someone like cut a hole in their throat, like trach thing, like
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know exactly what
do you have to
scene you're
like
referring to.
cut a
Yeah.
person in half and show me the whole thing? No. You don't have to do that. Like
No.
every other second of that movie, I was like totally on board.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
yeah.
no, like I'm fine with body horror in any shape or form. Like I like nowadays, like nothing really phases me like that. But yeah, the reason I brought up Substance is because it's my favorite movie of last year, and like
Hmm.
you know, I was also rooting a tiny bit for Demi. But Mikey, it's hard to argue against that, especially when you see her in interviews, and she is the polar opposite of Honora, where she is like
Mm.
very soft spoken, very quiet, very polite,
I think she
and then
did all her own dancing and stuff. Like, I really
yes,
do give her
yes,
credit. But I
and
think it's
then
harder to play like a vulnerable person. Like she
mm-hmm,
is vulnerable, but in a way that she's making herself not vulnerable
yes.
as her vulnerability, which again, awesome.
And that's why the final scene should hit you in the car. That's why
I
like
know.
that final scene like cements who she is,
Yeah.
and it's fascinating movie. I love that movie too. But you know the Substance, I genuinely think that's gonna be one of those like give it 15, 20 years. There's gonna be people like hey, we're watching the Substance tonight in a cinema on a big
Hmm.
screen. So
Hmm.
everything is screaming in our face, and we'll have a blast. I think that's gonna be like a cult
Like how people
classic.
watch The Thing.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, I was just I seen it in a cinema. I was not ready for what I've gotten, and I loved it. Like I was just like, yeah. And
I hope you're
Margaret
right.
Qualley, by the way, she should have gotten more recognition for that movie. Like all props
Hmm.
and power to Demi, of course, but I feel like Margaret Qualley was kind of left behind when it comes
Mm.
to being recognized by like Golden Globes or Oscars because she did amazing.
She did a great job too, for sure. It's hard because I'm just partial toward people and roles
Hmm.
that are challenging in like not just what you have to say and do, but like the weight of the whole project.
Yeah,
Because again, that's where I feel like Emma Stone couldn't be compared because
yeah.
she had her lines and she had her motions, but like everything about that movie, like she
Relies on her.
became that movie
Yeah.
and perpetuated this completely like a thing that never existed before. She does that and brings it. Whereas, and then Demi is the same way. Like this,
Hmm.
it's kind of a weird concept, you know, the
Hmm.
idea and you have to kind of, but like she brings it to life. Um, and yeah, I think Margaret does too,
Hmm.
but it's easier to be like hot when frankly you are. I mean,
Hmm.
she's one of the most beautiful people who's like famous right now, I
Hmm.
think, like just objectively. Um,
I thought both they had Demi's like Oscar reel, which it was actually used, was the bathroom scene when she was getting ready for a
mhm,
date. When I saw it, I was
mhm.
like, yeah, this is if she's nominated for this movie, this is gonna be her Oscar reel. And
Yeah.
in Margaret, I was gonna say like the pretty girl should smile, and like she like when her like teeth are falling out, so she cannot smile, and she just tries to smile
Yeah.
as widely as possible, like this like uncomfortable almost smile. And these men led by Dennis Quaid, like
Hmm.
so oblivious to everything, beautiful, like all over the top, right? And it's just like,
Hmm.
no, like yeah, loved it, like and but yeah, so 2010s. Go back to your point. You cannot argue with that. 2010s, especially for as you say, you're into elevated horror.
Hmm.
That's where it kind of where it took off. Because before that, we had it was either a slasher movie,
I was
or it
gonna
was
say
a
slashers.
yeah, or it was a spooky movie. It's like, huh, there's a ghost or two, and like,
Hmm.
but there were not many elevated, and then yeah, now it's an actual term that was coined by Ari Aster, Jordan Peele, all these guys, like like another one. I think it follows
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
that I've only seen
Psychological.
recently. Yes, I've only seen recently for the first time, like a few months ago, and how that stays with you. It's the simple concept but executed beautifully, and it's funny for a person who's seen the original Halloween as much as I have. It's so obvious, like certain scenes and like over homages to Halloween. You can tell how inspired that director. I didn't even have to read it on IMDb to know. Yes, this is most of that movie is homage to Halloween and to John Carpenter
Hmm.
and the way he shoots movie, even to the point where there's some like synths here and there or used for a soundtrack. I was like, that must be a Halloween nod by that director, and I
Mm.
love that. So yeah, no elevated horror 2010s. You cannot go wrong.
I hope we get back to it because I mean
Yeah.
Ari Aster, I'm a little bummed that he's pivoted. I mean, I've seen his most recent stuff and that's like a whole other conversation,
Mm-hmm.
like good and bad. I
Mm-hmm.
think
Mm-hmm.
both I don't hate either of the movies. I think a lot of people are like, "Ugh."
Yeah.
Even Beau is Afraid, I think there's something to be said about that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but like, I just think Ari Aster was one of those people who, once I saw his movies, most things didn't even hit that hard anymore. Like
Like
Hereditary changed me.
Hereditary is so unnerving. It's yeah, and
It's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like in that it's one of the best things, but
yes,
it is like
yes,
one of the
yes.
worst things I've ever seen.
And it's like Midsommar. It's like the almost uncomfortable, but like in a very like damaging psychological way, where it's like Hereditary is like this scary way, where it's like you're unnerved all the time.
Yeah.
But in Midsommar, you just want to fucking kill yourself all the time, and you're where Florence Pugh is. Pretty much the
Trauma, but make
most of
it
the
pretty.
yes, exactly. Just like most of the movie where she's like down low, and the
Yeah.
movie makes you feel that throughout its lengthy runtime, and I'm like,
Mm.
ooh, this guy, man, just yeah. No, but like I feel like horror is in good hands because there's such new up and comers almost every year, and it seems to be the genre is like, hey, do you want to prove yourself? Make a horror movie and
Mm.
see what happens. It
Yeah.
seems to now be because it used to be, oh, if you're done, just make a horror movie, make a
Mm.
Friday the 13th part, 15.
Yeah.
You know,
Saw
yeah,
12.
yeah. But now it's like, oh no, oh you're up and comer, you have a horror idea, okay, let's go and see what happens. Like, oh, but see, Have you, from this year, I might give you a recommendation. Have you
Please
heard of
do.
this movie from Norway, I believe, called Ugly Stepsister?
No. I'll write
It's
it down.
a Norwegian retelling or spin on Cinderella, told from the stepsister's point of view. The
Ooh,
problem
okay.
is, it's a lot of body horror and a very uncomfortable body horror. It's basically about
Mm,
like what is beauty and how far you're willing to go to be quote unquote beautiful. So
mm.
first, I would definitely not eat anything whilst you're watching that movie. And second, be ready to be uncomfortable. And some sex scenes as well, like very unusual, interesting sex scenes. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, okay.
So
But
it's
yeah, no,
experimental.
it is, but also it's like it's also very down to earth. It's like,
Mm.
hey, what if Cinderella actually happened in 16 1700, but in Norway? And
Hmm.
what if it was told from the stepsister's point of view?
I like stuff like that.
Yeah, me
You
too.
know?
And it was a
It's
great
like the
movie.
Western thing where it's like,
Yes.
all right, we get it. There's like the cowboy hero,
Mm-hmm.
but like what's really going on? Like tell me
Mm-hmm.
what's really going on.
Mm-hmm.
Make
And I
everyone like gross and
Yep. Do you have a subscription to Shudder, the streaming service,
I
horror movie?
don't, but
Okay.
Shane does, and sometimes usually when we hang out, my husband doesn't do a lot of gore, so
Mm-hmm.
like I watched Bone Tomahawk with Shane. And like there's
Yeah.
things where if
Yeah.
it's just him and I, it's like, all right, well let's
I'm sure.
so I
I
have a
know.
list things to
Yeah.
watch for that.
I know Shane's seen it, and I'm pretty sure this is like a Shudder original, at least here, or they was inquired by
Oh,
them. So like that's how I watched it on Shudder. I
mm,
made my like V trial just for that, so I can watch it,
nice.
and I'm like, oh, this was worth it. No money I've paid for that 1 week free. This was very
Yeah,
much, very much worth it. No, so yeah,
nice.
like if body horror with some sort of messaging, with some sort of theme is your cup of tea, and you not just don't eat anything during that movie,
Fair
and
enough.
yeah, you might like it. But
All right,
yeah,
awesome.
so I think you've hinted at this, so let's hear it. Do you have a movie hot take you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I think I pretty much covered it, but I do feel like when I was growing up, I viewed Westerns as just, these cliche,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
boring movies that were only about men and
Racist.
honestly like racist. Yeah, just like not they just weren't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um and True Grit was the one where I didn't know it was like in that genre going
Mm-hmm.
into it. But my dad, again, my dad, he just sometimes he knows. And so he brought me to see that and I loved it. And
Mm-hmm.
like that kind of changed my viewpoint. I think around that time as well, it's totally different, but also not. Rango, the animated movie,
Yes.
I freaking love that movie
Same.
so much. It's
Same.
so good. And like these like normally animated characters are cute.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone in that movie is so gross. I love it. It's perfect. They
They're kind of
are,
like grotesque looking, aren't they?
yes.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's like back then, I mean, and of course, like this is a fictional world, but what it's suggesting is like if you lived in one of these like
Mm-hmm.
pioneer towns, like you were rough and ready. Like life was not pretty. It was not glorified. It's like the opposite of what I think Westerns tend to bring up. Like, yes, there's the idea of honor
Mm-hmm.
and, heroism and stuff, but like a lot of it is like shooting people in the back and
Yes.
and yeah, being like prejudice. And so if you're upfront about that and work it into the plot, like True Grit just does
Mm-hmm.
such a good job of
Mm-hmm.
like all of the above. Um, but then, we had Django, and there's just been a number of movies since
Mm-hmm.
then that I think have really done a great job with that. I also really liked the show 1883. I didn't
I have
think
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it, so it's
it's
good.
tr it's terrific. I mean,
Okay.
Taylor Sheridan, I think, is the guy who
Yes.
like
Yes.
he does more like
Mm-hmm.
macho Western stuff, and so I wouldn't have thought I'd like it, but it's very real. Like the stakes are clear, and people just it's very brutal
Mm-hmm.
in its portrayal. But like I was there for that because I think, especially in the United States, it's a part of our mythology, this like
Cowboys and Indians.
cowboy,
Yeah.
lone ranger,
Yep.
hero thing.
Yep.
And like And then yeah, just the people who started and traveled across. But you got to realize, first of all, like, haha, Oregon Trail, you died of dysentery. But like seriously, like
Hmm.
it was a
I know.
bad time
Yep, yep, yep.
for everyone for a lot of reasons. And then also like it really does, I mean, the tension between the existing inhabitants of these places
Hmm.
who had their own honor and their own culture and their own lifestyle, like these things beating against each other. But then like these moments of generosity
Hmm.
where even in that time, those groups of people would occasionally show mercy or,
Hmm.
you know, help. And you're just like, man, this is like it's such a raw human
Hmm.
thing. And oh my God, I cried so much. I mean, I cry pretty easily, but
So
wow,
was
it
it during the
just
1883 show? You
yes,
mean? Okay, okay, okay.
that whole
Just
the
making
whole
sure.
show,
All right.
like, but really the end,
Mm-hmm.
like, d obliterated me.
Okay.
Um, but it's really beautiful, and I will say the main character is this like cute blonde girl, and I was like primed to be annoyed by her, but I don't know, man, I fell in love with her spirit and
Mm-hmm.
like just the beauty that she saw in the Wild West. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I got really like it was romantic in some ways and very like brutal and real in others, but it's definitely worth a watch. But yeah, I love that whole genre.
Yeah. I will say, so this TV show, I've heard of it. It wasn't
Mm,
on my like list, but you're kind of selling it to me definitely more. Like I'm more intrigued. I love me some Taylor Sheridan, even though he quickly became your hey, this is your dad's favorite director writer. Like he
right.
seems to be that kind of like, oh, I have many movies and TV shows about manly men. I know, like
Yeah.
most of them are actually, from what I hear, great. Like Hello, High Water, like written by him, excellent
Oh, yeah, that
movie.
is good.
That
I've
is an
seen that and that is
excellent
good.
movie. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh, to your point about westerns, so have you? So you mentioned like Django, Rango. You mentioned like the True Grit. Have you seen the 310 to Yuma?
So there are a couple older ones that I have not seen that I know are worth it, like some of Clint Eastwood's stuff and like some of the ones that d were the first to kind of turn the genre on
Yes.
its head. I haven't really gotten around to them, but
So there's like the original, like American from like the 50s. I also haven't seen, but it's on my watch list. But I'm talking
mm,
about the remake with Russell Crowe, Christian
mm,
Bale, and Ben Foster. That
mm,
remake is excellent. Even if it's more like your stereotypical Western, but it's actually told very well. So that was one of the first big ones after like a long period of time, like in a modern Hollywood, where it's like, oh yeah, Westerns can be great, cool.
hmm.
And that was my other point. I was gonna ask. So when you say like your normal westerns are not your cup of tea, besides like these newer ones, do you mean American or do you mean the spaghetti westerns from like 60 as well?
Kind of
Like,
both. I mean, I think because I'm in the US,
mm-hmm,
I think of Westerns very much as like the stereotypical thing because it is a huge thing.
mm-hmm,
Like you said, a lot of like maybe not so much dads now, but like grandpas.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Grandpas are into those are like their comfort movies and
Yes.
I actually didn't know either of my grandfathers. So
Mm-hmm,
I kind of got spared all of that and maybe that's also partly why I have no nostalgia, but
mm-hmm,
I've watched a couple here and there and was like thoroughly not into them. And I like action, you know?
mm-hmm,
I like action movies. I don't even mind if they are kind of like pulpy. Like you said like the Fast and Furious. I haven't seen even most of them, but I've seen like one or two. It's
mm-hmm,
fine. Like I'll
mm-hmm.
watch stuff like that. I don't mind it. But something specifically about the Westerns, I think it kind of got under my skin a little bit because it's this like macho, like uh, competition type thing
Mm-hmm.
of like who's the fastest who can shoot the other guy and
Yep, yep.
they were just like the location was usually very desolate.
Mm-hmm,
The women were always like, oh, you know,
mm-hmm.
like fainting and I'm just like
And
and
if
then,
they
of
were
course,
not,
Indians were, you know, like the
yeah,
Native American people were
yeah,
always like
yeah.
evil and savage. And I'm just like, this is so bad.
And if the woman didn't want to go with the man, she would get slapped and be like, "No, you're going with me anyway." and
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, okay, that did not age well, but I guess that was historically more accurate than you know,
right.
cowboy would not be like like in the 1850s, like, oh, sorry, I respect your boundaries, it's fine, like probably not.
And I think like if something's gonna be historically accurate, I
Hmm.
can get on board with that.
Hmm.
But it has to know itself. Like I
Yeah.
like these self-aware things
Hmm.
now. And so, you know, I still I think that the cowboy or the Western trope
Hmm.
where like you don't it doesn't even have to be set in a Western place for it to be a Western now. Like there are
Yes.
these themes that you could apply. I think that's good. Like that can work really well.
Hmm.
It was more just like the so played out
Hmm.
stuff where I it's just like a peeve of mine because I don't like cliche things.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I see something that's like, whoa, I've never seen anything like that, automatically I'm like way more on board. Even if it's like not like my favorite thing, I give it points for
Yeah.
originality.
No, I'll say with the westerns, I like the genre, but I definitely give you this. It's a genre where the peaks are so high. So like to me,
Hmm.
like the good, the bad, and the ugly, or Once Upon a Time in the West are
Mm,
not just great westerns; they are great movies. Period.
right.
Like most of them done by Sergio Leone. So like anything by
Mm,
him, it's a straight up masterpiece. And but with the many American, I also struggle. Like the classics, like like you mentioned the True Grit, the remake. I've actually watched the True Grit, the original with John Wayne, and I'm
mm,
like, this is okay. And if I'm not
right.
mistaken, that was the one that won him the Oscar, which was really lifetime achievement award. But hey, he's not gonna live for that long, so we'll give him this leading man Oscar, this for
Mm,
this movie. And I'm like,
hmm.
I look, I respect the guy as an actor. Maybe
Sure.
not everything he stood for, but okay, like let's separate the art for the artist. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
That was an Oscar-winning performance. Like, no, I'm sorry. And that movie is kind of bad. Oh, not bad. It's kind of average. Whereas the remake, like you pointed out, the True Grit, much more enjoyable, much better movie. Yes. So, like,
Absolutely.
I feel like you're 100% right. But like, the peaks. I would argue the only thing is like I would argue the peaks are so great. Like, I wouldn't chuck the entire genre, even the old ones. But yes, there's a bunch of samey stuff happening.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like to each their own,
Hmm.
absolutely, but
Hmm.
like I'm gonna skip it.
Fair, and that's totally fair. Like,
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah. But I think with, or do you have any other hot movie takes?
Mm, well, the other one's pretty short, and I feel
Okay.
like we're probably aligned on this, but I did mention that I like Jordan Peele,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like everyone says Get Out is his best movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is a fantastic movie.
It
But
is.
I personally think all three are like equally good. Like I love all three of those movies. They're so well thought out,
Mm-hmm.
interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All three of them are thought-provoking, and I kind of think Get Out might be the most accessible,
Yes.
but
Like
I
it's the most
like when they're
commercial.
inaccessible.
Yeah, like I think Get Out, especially in America, because obviously it's a
Yes.
very American movie, right?
Yes, yes.
It's very the most accessible 100%, especially for American audiences. I
Hmm.
love Us just
That's my
because.
favorite.
Oh, nice. I
Yeah.
I'm biased because I love anything a little bit Lupita Nyong'o.
Oh, she's
So
amazing.
yes, and she should have been nominated for an Oscar for that role. Like I
Yeah.
like playing a double, what she does in certain scenes, the choices she makes. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, this is kind of Oscar worthy performance, at least like a nomination. But
Oh,
no,
absolutely. Yeah, no, I was mad.
yeah, and so and yeah, look, does the metaphor kind of not work at times, especially towards the end? Sure, sure, but I still love the when directors swing for something big, right?
I actually think too, and this is my own opinion. I did not ever like read what Jordan Peele
Mm-hmm.
was doing. Like I know that there's clearly like a class
Mm-hmm.
thing
Mm-hmm.
going on, but I also thought to an extent it was about the soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was where I found more meaning in it. Like, yes, there's these two groups and one of them is sort of like packed away and then
Mm-hmm.
whatever. But to me, it was like the whole thing throughout the movie, the reason why that uprising was possible in the first place, and then why Lupita's character kind of is like not able to ever like do certain things. Like they have the dancers.
Yeah, yeah.
It's because one of them has a soul and the other doesn't.
I never actually thought about it like that.
And when you think of it that way,
Mm-hmm.
like the idea that you can clone a being but only one of them has a soul,
Yeah.
that to me makes the movie work perfectly. And I thought they had those rabbits down there, which was like
Yes.
cloning,
Yes.
and that got me thinking. And then the cut, cutting a bunch of people and lining them up. But it was like that little girl who was taken from the beginning,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
she's the only one who like has a soul and has an imagination. And at the very end, they're just living out the one vision she remembers from being a little kid.
Yes.
Like there's just, and again, I could be totally wrong. Like I could be talking to Jordan Peele and he could be like, no, that's not what I was going for. But that's what I got from it. And I'm like, this is so deep and interesting. And just the fact that like
Mm-hmm.
different people can take totally different things from it,
100%.
like
No, I
that's
think
an
Jordan
amazing movie.
Peele. No, yeah, 100%. I think Jordan Peele, if you were to talk to him and tell him, I thought us is about this and this and this, I don't think he would tell you, oh, you're wrong. I think he's a smart enough director that he understands this specific thing. I heard somebody say recently, like one of the directors, and I was like, yeah, this is actually so well thought of. Like the movie you make, the moment you screen it, the moment you premiere
Hmm.
it, it only belongs to you maybe half, maybe
Yep.
50%.
People say the
Because
same thing
then,
about art.
yes, and well, because it is art. So
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you need to make peace with the fact that 100 people will see this movie, or 100,000 people will see this movie, and
Hmm.
100,000 people will interpret it in 100,000 different ways. And no
Hmm.
longer, it doesn't matter what you thought of, like as a
Hmm.
director.
Hmm.
If it means that to this person and that to this person, you cannot really argue against that. Like, yes, you know what you wanted to say. Yes, 100%. Right? But many people find different things in many movies. Sometimes for a bad, sometimes for a good, right? And I
Mm.
think your interpretation of us like gives me something to think about. And I think Jordan would be like, yeah, that's like, yeah, if you take this from it, great. And like, if anything, when I will rewatch it, I'll think of this and like, okay, this actually makes sense. Because yeah, like I only seen it the one time in a cinema, and I thought it was like that was fucking amazing. And I'm so mad at myself that I didn't get a chance to watch Nope in the cinemas. So I
Oh,
only
yeah.
watched it on my nice screen at home. But I was floored by that scope of that movie
Yeah, exactly.
and how that wasn't nominated for, like, okay, Best Picture should have been, but okay. But the cinematography even, or the
Hmm.
score,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, the score of all of them are so good. I
mm-hmm,
mean, Us again, like one of the most iconic scores ever.
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm,
like, but yeah, I mean that again, and they're so different, right?
mm-hmm,
Like they are all about, they bring up like kind of like a race and or class thing like in each of them that's there. But in the second two, it's just about a lot more than just that. And I'm like, when a scary movie actually makes me also think,
mm-hmm.
that's special because that doesn't happen very often.
Well, that's how horror movies like kind of reinvented themselves in back in the 60s. Because before that, it was like, yeah, we have this monster. This is scary.
Hmm.
Let's be afraid. And then
Hmm.
George A. Romero showed up with his Night of the Living Dead, and it's like, yeah,
Hmm.
these are zombies, but also this talks about race and interracial relationships. If you think
Hmm.
about it like that, and suddenly it's like, oh wait, oh, you mean to tell me horror movies can convey messages like that and don't have to be, can be scary and tell something else?
Hmm.
So, like, I think that's, like, smart director like Jordan Peele starts from that point of what I want to say and makes it into a horror movie rather than, oh, let me make a slasher. Let me make a
Yeah.
spooky story. It might be a great
Hmm.
slasher. It might be a great spooky story, but, like, if there's nothing deeper going on, it won't stay with you for that long.
Right.
Whereas, like, us, like, as you mentioned, yeah, that stays with you. Get Out stays with you. Nope stays with you. Like, I
Hmm.
need to rewatch all of them because I loved all
Yeah.
of them so much. It's like, yeah, 100%. So, okay, I think that was a good discussion. I think with that we can move to the underrated part of this podcast, where I'll ask you, Haley, who do you think is the most underrated actor we have right now?
Yeah, so these ones are going to be a little difficult in that I'm not as good at like if it's underrated, I might not even know who this person is. So
That's fine.
my answer is kind of just I watched the show Severance kind of
Mm.
recently,
Mm-hmm.
and enjoyed it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like the guy who played Irving. His name is John Turturro.
Jordan,
Turturro.
yes, yes.
I mean, that show had a lot of good performances.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but something about him,
Mm-hmm.
like there's so much going on, like with him as a character and the way he conveyed it in such a like sincere and simple way. I just like because there's a and I'm not going to give anything away in the show, but there are moments where like his character is more or less prevalent in the
Mm-hmm.
timeline, and I missed him when he wasn't there. Also, he plays kind of opposite Christopher Walken at times, who's like
Yep.
a powerhouse. And
Yep.
I think he held his own just
Mm-hmm.
fine. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of the characters in that show do a good job. It's a very well acted show.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the concept is crazy. I appreciated that. But like, I was thinking, like, this guy, I want to see him in more stuff
Mm-hmm.
now. Like, I hope that he gets recognition from this, and then I hope that he gets picked up and can continue to play like complex roles.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think that's the important like distinguishing point because John Turturro, like he's been big actor for like 3, 4 decades, but you making a good point where he's often in these like side roles or like funny, quote unquote, funny
mm,
guys where it's like it doesn't seem like he's been acting that much. Even though,
hmm
like comedies and these characters are one of the most challenging things an actor can do, right?
that's fair.
And this show is one of the few instances where you see him do something different, something he doesn't get to usually do. Like I've only seen him in a couple of other movie. I've seen him in a bunch of movies, but only in a couple he gets to quote unquote flex all the acting muscles he's got. And he
Mm,
like I've only seen the first season of Severance. I need to watch the second one. And yeah, no, he is great. Like that's a proper like talk about an ensemble. Like there is
yeah.
not a bad performance on that show.
No.
It's
Yeah.
and he is honestly spectacular. And I haven't even seen a second season, so I don't even know whether he's even better in the second season. So,
I think he brings like an emotional
mm-hmm,
like complexity to the whole thing, like his situation. And again, like I understood things about him
mm-hmm,
really early on in the show without him addressing those things. Like he just embodied this person,
mm-hmm,
and I love an authentic person, like a believable person, and I loved him before any of the others. It was just something about him. I'm like,
yeah,
this man, like no, he's annoying and like kind of a pain in the butt, but I love him. Like
mm-hmm,
he just is
mm-hmm,
he's just a real like and he's got like all these people what they are on the outside or the inside could be different, but you just know that like he's
yep,
sad out there. And I like again, all of the characters did a great job, but I
mm-hmm,
felt like I don't know, his part was pretty difficult to play in a lot of ways, and it was very nuanced, and he
yes, yes.
really nailed it. So I mean, I believe you that he's been in a lot of stuff. I've never seen him in anything, or at least never noticed him. But like,
Because yeah, he's usually the side character. He's
yeah,
rarely. I think if he had maybe like 10 leading roles to his name, maybe that's
mm,
too many.
mm,
And he's been acting again. I think like mid 80s, early 90s. So like he is like up there. Like John Torturo is a decent name,
mm,
but mostly he's in this kind of like a hey, he's the funny guy in like 2 or 3 Transformers movies. He's this
mm,
funny guy. Like he's been in a couple of Coen Brother movies, but also like kind of funny. So like
mm-hmm.
it's a kind of like quirky guy, kind of like hey, he's the funny guy.
Yeah,
Until
yeah.
this show and like maybe 1 or 2 movies I can think of off the top of my head. Like there was a movie called I think like Finding Gigolo or something where he plays Gigolo.
Mm,
uh, it was like it's a weird movie, but I thought he was great in that movie, even though the movie didn't work for me that well. But like I thought
mm-hmm.
he was an interesting performance in that movie. And yeah, with Severance, yeah, I hope because of the show he will get offered a bit more serious roles in his like a bit advanced age, shall we say,
Hmm.
where it'd be nice to see him walking away with an Oscar at some point. It'd be
Yeah.
nice because
At the
I'm
very least, yeah, more roles where he can showcase like what he's
yes,
capable of, because
yes,
clearly
not
he
just be
has
the
depth.
yes, not just be hey this funny guy who's who's Jewish, yeah, yeah, John Tortilla, yes,
Right.
he's here, he's here. But no, that's a great pick. So who
Yes.
do you think is the most underrated actress we have right now?
This one was maybe even more difficult because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like a lot of the female actresses who are like who I would I mean obviously I'm a huge fan of Emma Stone, but like
Mm-hmm.
she's getting all the attention she
Yes,
deserves.
yes.
And I feel that way about a lot of the people I see. So again, I kind of had to like think I was trying to think of movies where I feel like I haven't seen this person in much other stuff and
Mm-hmm.
like, again, I'm just was very, very moved by the performance. So I'm gonna choose Sally Hawkins because of her performance in The Shape of Water, which I'm a big Guillermo del Toro fan. I haven't seen Frankenstein, but
Mm-hmm.
Pan's Labyrinth and Shape of Water are excellent, and I
Yeah.
love both of those movies. I've seen them multiple times, and I'm like
Mm-hmm.
really into it. Uh, and there was a lot going on with both of those where the characters who were playing like normal human beings had a lot to cope with, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like both she and her like quirky male friend, whose name I'm blanking on right now, but both of them
Mm-hmm.
those were difficult roles because again, like you're playing like weird people who
Mm-hmm.
are social outcasts and but she just, captures your heart and I and it can't be easy to pretend to fall in love with a monster, but I believed her, and like
I also
I don't
believed
like love
she wanted
stories,
to.
but I thought that one was felt
Mhm.
real to me despite how unreal the circumstances were.
I also believe she wanted to fuck that fish guy. Yes,
Yeah,
yes, same.
100%.
No, Sally Hawkins. That's a great pick because so I'll recommend you two movies. One is fairly old or older, not old, but
Uh-huh.
there's 2007 movie I think called Happy Go Lucky. Have you seen that?
Happy-go-lucky? No.
It's a comedy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, British comedy with a bunch of British actors. The character she portrays in, I feel like most talented actresses, it would be so fucking annoying, grating, but
Mm,
she can portray it so well. Where she's annoyingly so lucky and happy, and just like but that performance, like why we don't nominate like comedy movies and these kind of movies for
mm.
an Oscar, I don't understand. Like especially performances. And speaking of Sally Hawkins and performances being nominated, and you loving horror, have you heard of Bring Her Back?
I'm pretty sure I've heard it, but I have not seen it.
So this is from this year. This is from the
Mm,
guys who did Talk to Me like 2 years ago.
that's a good one.
It's so I haven't seen that. I haven't seen Bring Her Back. The only reason is it looks scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
Talk to Me was good. That was freaky.
but apparently, Bring Her Back is like another level. There is some sort of scene with like scissors or like table. Everybody is like, that fucking scene is tense as fuck. And many people say we'll probably have another snub that yet again, Sally Hawkins. Many people are banging that drum that she should be nominated for this movie. Like her
Mm. Okay, so
performance.
she's in it.
Yes. Oh no, she's the main. So the only thing I know is she loses a child. She's this mother, so
Mm,
she gets like an orphan or something or adopts, and she wants to kind of bring back her older child. I don't
okay.
know anything else. I don't know what happens next. I've seen a very spooky trailer, and I was like, I would love to watch movies like that in a cinema, but I don't think I think I would get a heart attack. So like I need to maybe watch it at home.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty much everybody who's seen that movie I know talks about how few scenes are so unnerving, that you will not want to watch it ever again, and how she should get a nomination or like Oscar nomination, Sally Hawkins, for this movie. Like,
All right.
apparently her performance is another level. So
Sold.
yeah, no, like again, me too. I just need to find the courage. Well, it's not
Yeah.
streaming. I can make this, excuse. It's not streaming anywhere yet. I can make that excuse and delay it a
Mm.
bit. But like, no, but Sally Hawkins, she's so underrated and weirdly different than horror movies. So the Paddington franchise,
Mm.
the third Paddington movie, I thought it was charming. I thought it was lovely, but a big part of why it didn't work nearly as enough as the previous two was the fact that Sally Hawkins didn't want to do it, couldn't do it. I don't know, but
Mm.
Emily Mortimer is there as the mom from the movie, from
Mm.
instead of her. I love me some Emily Mortimer. That's another underrated British actress. But like Sally Hawkins brings the heart into that movie where
Mm.
she's your stereotypical mom everybody wants to have as a mom, right?
Yeah.
And she has that like in those movies, in the Paddington movies, she has the warmth about her where you can tell she cares about not only her family but also Paddington, this
Aw.
weird bear from Peru,
I
and
haven't seen any of the Paddington movies, but
oh,
um
the
I'm
first
bad about seeing kids movies these days. I like them when I see them.
no,
I don't have a kid.
the first two are great. The first two are like the third one. I still thought I really enjoyed as well. Like
Mm.
I thought it was, especially what kids nowadays are served, still much better the quality than most live action stuff.
Mm, hmm.
Minecraft, but hey, like yeah, it's no. But Sally Hawkins, like I genuinely think the big reason, and you see it compared to the third one, those movies work as well. Big reason is her and her performance and her
Mm,
honesty and
yeah.
yeah, and bring her back, and it's totally different from Shape of Water. It's totally different from Happy Go Lucky. It's totally different from what I hear bring her back. So she is a very multifaceted actress, and yeah, if she gets nominated, I would be hyped. Without seeing the movie, I would be so hyped for her.
Nice. Well, I'm glad I brought that up because now I got some recommendations to see more of her work,
Yeah, yeah.
which would be great.
Again, you give recommendations to me, and I'll give it to you. That's how the show works. So
That's perfect.
So who do you think is the most underrated director we have right now?
So I put down Guy Ritchie
Hmm.
simply because, I mean, obviously people know him. It's not like
Yes.
he's not famous, but
Yes.
I don't know. I feel like I don't hear about him a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
now, Snatch was his magnum opus that's probably most people's opinion. Like I think that is by far his best movie, but really I like all of them. Like I like everything he puts out.
Mm-hmm.
And
Even the Madonna movie.
okay, that one I didn't see. And I feel like that was a passion project given like his weird like being with her for a while
Yeah,
thing. Um
100% it was.
But his Guy Ritchie movies, his like scummy British crime
Yep.
spree movies. Like I love them.
Mm-hmm.
They're fun, they're cheeky. Uh Again, everyone's a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
I'm just there for it. And like for some reason I like it so much more than like an American version of it because it's got that British humor, which I'm very partial to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's probably kind of reductive and Snatch,
Mm-hmm.
I love that movie. There are some parts of that that have not aged well, but like it's just such a clever thing. And I love the whole like all of the characters are larger than life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and The Gentleman, which came out somewhat recently, like I
Yeah.
actually thought that was like pretty darn good. That was like him almost
Back to
getting
form.
back
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
back into it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. It feels to me like when I showed quite a few people, including I think I showed Shane Snatch, which
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's just because in the US he's not as big,
Mm-hmm.
but to me I'm like this guy makes like generally very solid, fun movies that you can like throw on and kind of like almost anyone will enjoy them.
Yeah.
And
No,
yeah, I
he's
would like to see him do more.
no, he's definitely like look, first of all, he's definitely famous, and I don't know about America, but like in Europe, no, people know him. I like how you said Snatch is like I think you're right. Snatch is his most popular one, and I think most people would select that as their favorite one. I need to rewatch it because I only seen it once, and it was back in the day where I still watched movies in Czech dubbing. So I haven't seen
Oh,
it. I haven't seen Brad Pitt doing the Pike
you
accent.
have to.
Yeah, I know. I
You
know.
should still put subtitles because
No, no,
even
no. I will.
native English speakers are like,
Yes.
what?
But I remember watching for the first time the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and I
It's a good
thought
one
that
too.
was a masterpiece. I like
Oh yeah.
that's until I rewatched Snatch, that's my favorite Guy Ritchie movie.
It's a good one too.
And let's not forget, because of him, we have Jason Statham.
Yes,
Because he
so true.
actually was like this like street hustler, like when and he and Guy Ritchie kind of discovered him doing the hustling shit, and he was like, "Hey, wanna star in this movie as pretty much yourself?" He was like, "All
Yeah.
right, I mate," and he,
I didn't know that. That's so funny.
yeah, yeah,
He is
and
the quintessential, like,
yes, and like and but to your point, like we haven't heard of him as much because like recently, well, not recently, but he had a slump of Guy Ritchie doesn't mean quality anymore.
yeah.
Like I still forget he was the one behind the live action Aladdin remake.
Oh, yeah, no,
He
I
is
didn't
the
see that
one.
either.
To be fair, as far as the live action Disney remakes go, Aladdin was fine. Like it was like the like non-offensive one. It's like okay, it's fine.
Okay.
But he's the one behind it. I was like, this is so fucking random. And then, but as you mentioned, Gentleman, I was gonna bring it up. This is his like return to form, where it's like, ooh,
Yes.
he's back. And then ever since then, he's made like one movie a year. I'm like, okay. And I've seen like one or two, and I thought they were mostly fine. So I hope he gets back to this kind of like, hey, British gangsters are fun, but also
Yeah.
like if he wants to spread out and do something else, sure. But no, Guy Ritchie is an interesting choice for this debate.
He
I'll
just
say
needs, as long as you've got like a wide spread of interesting personalities. They
yes.
don't have to be doing crime,
Mm-hmm.
but there's got to be like something that like winds its way around a bunch of weirdos. Like, it just he does that really well. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
really, in all of his movies, you've got like 15 characters, but they're all fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to rewatch Snatch. Oh my God,
No,
it's such a freaking trip.
I will. Like again, like I've only watched it once with Czech dubbing, which means that's over 2 decades now. Because I
Mm,
haven't watched the movies in Czech dubbing for it was that long.
yeah.
And yeah, so this will be like watching it for the first time when I rewatch it, and I will
Mm,
have to rewatch it because I need to just for the Brad Pitt alone playing a gypsy.
yes. Oh
Just
yeah. But really, there are some really good performances in
oh,
that, like
I hear
across the board.
yes, I hear.
The bad guy, talk about an underrated actor. Like, I don't know what else he's been in, but Bricktop,
Mm-hmm.
he is so despicable and it's so good. He's so British. I love it.
He's so British.
They're all so British.
That
Everyone in
is
that
true.
movie is so British. Well, except for Boris the Blade, who's so Russian.
Yeah, yeah. So I know the next one is very hard because there's so many movies, but do you have one or two you would want to shout out as underrated?
Yeah, I will do one.
Okay.
Um, and it is one of my favorite scary movies of all time, which is
Mm-hmm.
called His House.
Never
I don't know
heard
if
of it,
you've
I don't
seen
think.
that.
No.
A lot of people haven't. Um,
His house. Okay, let me
this
check.
was it was like on Netflix. I think it came out in 2020, so it
Mm-hmm.
kind of goes against my scary movies since haven't been as good. But like this is a really poignant and legitimately scary movie. Um,
Oh, Wunmi Mosaku is in it from Sinners, and
yes,
I love
yes.
her.
And this was like I feel like, she was not on my radar at
Mm-hmm.
that time. But the very basic premise is, and of course now you know my background, so like I'm very partial to the theme of this, but you've got a
Mm-hmm.
refugee couple who is being settled. Actually, I think it is in the UK,
Mm-hmm.
um, as part of their like refugee settlement program, and they basically are having some issues with
Mm-hmm.
the house that they move into.
Mm-hmm.
I will have you watch it, but what I will say is that this movie is not simple. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's tropes that they obviously, you know, address,
Mm-hmm.
but this is not like oh, just feel bad for the immigrants. Like, it's not exclusively that. There's more going on here, and it's really about them trying to like take ownership
Yeah.
of this new life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's like
Okay.
this is his house, you know?
Yeah.
There's just it does a lot. And it's tragic. Like, it's really sad, but really well done. So, yeah, I mean, I just don't know a lot of people who've seen it. I recommend it
Mm-hmm.
to people, and I think it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of goes in places you might not expect.
Hmm.
which I always think is great.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so yeah, I would highly recommend that.
And I
And
quick.
then,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
go
Go.
ahead.
No. No. Only go
Well,
on.
let's start with this one, and then I have one other like little shoe
Okay.
in that I want to mention, but
Okay. No, I just wanted to say I quickly checked, and you're right. It is a Netflix movie, so it's also available in the UK. So
yay!
that will be on my watch list.
Gotta check it out.
Mm-hmm.
The other movie I'm just gonna mention because I have to mention this at some point in this
Mm-hmm.
conversation.
Okay.
It's not so much that it's an underrated movie, it's just a movie that was made by my cousin, actually. He is an aspiring filmmaker. He's out in
Nice.
LA. He mostly works in like sound and stuff like to make a living, but he recently created a feature-length film called Home Wrecker.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and his name is Dante Marino. So like there's a couple movies called Home Wrecker out there, but his came out just this year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just tell people about it because one, I legitimately think it's a good movie. But two, he's trying to get out there and make something. It did rounds at a couple festivals, and I think it's available now on both Amazon and Google, like to rent. Um,
Here in the UK, it's available on Prime or Tubi,
okay,
apparently. So,
yeah.
and I see, yeah, yeah, I can see. Okay, that seems interesting.
It's very timely. Like,
Okay.
it's a very relevant movie for our time, and I think people of our age demographic in particular will find it very poignant.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a movie that will make you happy or comfy, but it just, it's a very, I think, like edgy take
Mm-hmm.
on things that a lot of us are thinking about and dealing with, but like, you take it to an extreme to make a point.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, anybody out there who would like to support a young guy trying to make a go of it
Mm-hmm.
out in LA, please download Homewrecker, give
Mm-hmm.
him a good review and you know.
Mm-hmm. No,
But
I
yeah, I
will.
thought that was excellent when I've seen it a couple times, obviously.
No, okay. Thank you for putting that on my radar because I obviously have never heard of it.
Yeah,
So I will. If it's actually streaming someplace, I'll put it on my queue. I'll be like, okay, let's see what this is about because on IMDb it's only been rated for like 40 people, but
yeah,
it's like 7.1, which again, only 40 people, so like obviously it can skew either way. I understand that. But that's Nibat. That's Nibat. So thank you for that recommendation. So and
sure.
for that plug, I'm sure he'll be happy about that.
Hmm.
Do you have a TV show you would want to shout out as being underrated?
Yes. Again, like generally speaking, if I've seen it, most people have, but probably the only show I've ever really, really liked, and then like I didn't know anyone who had any idea what it was, is this show called Kingdom. And it's
Is
a
it Lars von Trier?
Korean,
Oh no, so it's not Lars von Trier. Is it not Denmark? So okay, okay.
no,
Kingdom.
it's Korean, and it
Hmm.
answers a question that nobody asked, which is, what if there was a zombie outbreak in medieval Korea? Um,
Oh, okay.
And I, so this, I don't know when it came out, but I watched it in 2020, and I know that because it was a time when we all were just sort of watching stuff.
Hmm.
And I watched a lot of things that were bad,
Hmm.
but this had no right to be as good as it was. I learned about medieval Korea. I feel like the things that happened were realistic in terms of like how people reacted, but also within the context of that society at that time.
Hmm.
Like, and that educates you about how life was and like how the the societal structure, the power structure. It was so fascinating. And
Hmm.
also, I just friggin' loved it. Like, I mean, I like zombie things well enough.
Same,
I
same.
love apocalyptic things well enough, but
Hmm.
this was like a really fresh take on something that we've seen played out a million times.
Hmm.
And I just had a lot of fun with it. Like the main character is like cool, but then there's like a supporting character who I freaking adored. He was like so adorable and I loved him so much. And yeah, I just became insanely invested in this story. And yeah, it was just so random, but I
Hmm.
really, really liked it. And so if you're into like if you're into zombie stuff, um, I think when I watched it, there were two seasons. They might
Yes.
have done more, but whatever I saw was good.
So I quickly
Um,
checked it out because I've only heard of there's a director called Lars von Trier, and he did like a this
mm,
TV show, but a kind of movies really called The Kingdom, but it was like 80s 90s. So I
mm,
never heard of.
this is very recent.
Yeah. So I never heard of South Korean one, so I had to look it up. It's available at least in the UK on Netflix, and you're right, it's
Yay!
2 seasons.
Hmm.
It's only 12 episodes. It seems like 6 episodes a season, so that's a very easy watch
Hmm.
and very good rating on IMDb. Like as he said, like not many people rated it, but those who did loved it. So that's those are the shows I'm looking for. Like when
Hmm.
I'm looking for stuff to watch, something that's like in and out,
Yep.
2 seasons, 3 seasons max. Doesn't have to be 100 episodes. Not that big of a
Yes.
commitment. But South Korea, zombies, and medieval times. Like that's a concept I would have never thought of, and if that kind of like you, that if there's a concept I never would have thought of and it intrigues me, that like automatically jumps in my imaginary queue or like a very high place
Hmm.
because there's so many movies like oh yeah like another variation of this theme, another variation of this action movie or whatever. Like I've seen
Yeah.
it before, it'll be fun, but this one seems different and it's yeah. I love me some zombies too. Like that
Hmm.
zombies are one of my favorite creatures.
I
So
will also say this has
mhm,
like a very interesting, because obviously like no two zombies are necessarily the same. So
yep,
there's like
slow
rules to how
ones,
these
yeah,
zombies work. And it's like always so interesting to like experience that and try to like puzzle out like
yep,
how are they going to deal with this. But yeah, just imagine like how many zombie things do we have like before there were telephones?
yes,
What happens, right? Like you can imagine it's not good.
mm-hmm,
But
yep.
it's amazing. So like I don't know. I just found it to be like very entertaining and a treat. So hopefully you like it.
No, I'll definitely check it out. I'm in the middle of like about 10 shows, so I don't know when exactly. I need to finish
Fair
some of
enough.
them because my brain doesn't work like I cannot be in the middle of like 10 shows. Like it stresses me
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll definitely like I'll put it on my list, especially if it's on Netflix. I'm paying for Netflix, so might as well. Yeah.
You absolutely should.
But Haley, thank you so much for your time. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
You've been kind and patient enough with me and answered all my questions. So before we say goodbye, do you have a question or two for me?
Yeah, I mainly wanted to ask
Hmm.
because like I said, I don't always get to see as many things as other people. I mean, you've given me some good recommendations, which I appreciate. Um, but because the director one was probably the most difficult for me to find like an underrated director, do you have a director, like an up and coming director you think I should be on my radar based off of everything I've told you that I like?
Well, easy answer would be Coralie Farge. She's the one who did Substance. She
Oh
did the
yeah.
she did the one. So she only done 2 movies, and Substance was the second one. First one, we're talking feature. I think she's done some shorts. The first
Hmm.
one I've also now watched, and it's also great. It's called The Revenge from 2017.
Oh wow.
Like that's a great movie about uh, this beautiful woman being basically used as an object and and then because of that almost killed, and she goes out for revenge on these
Mm-hmm.
guys.
Mm-hmm.
Very, it's kind of like the Substance, like very visceral, very like
Mm-hmm.
raw. But
Mm-hmm.
also, what I liked about the Substance and the Revenge, because it's shot by a woman. Like Coralie Farge has this unique lens where she still owns the sexuality of the women in her movies without
Yeah.
it feeling like sleazy. Like
Hmm. Or reductive or whatever.
yeah, there's definitely like look, there's definitely some shots in the Substance like okay, we are definitely admiring like like Margaret Qualley here, and
Yeah.
but it's still there's like a different point to that than that.
Hmm.
And other director, I don't know if she's an up and comer, but like as to me, like she's done quite a few. But there's another French lady called Julia Ducournau. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I'm sorry, French people. I don't speak French. But she's done. So, have you seen a movie Raw from 2016?
Raw?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
So, plot of that movie. This college student woman, she goes to college because she's young and she wants to study, right? And
Hmm.
she discovers she might be a cannibal.
Oh, interesting.
And where that movie goes and what it explores with that, it's fascinating. And how that movie ends. So, you're thinking, okay,
Mm.
okay, this is going this way, this is going this way. And then the movie ends, and I will generalize, but if this was an American production, an American movie, it wouldn't have ended where it ended. It would have been 10 more
Mm.
minutes.
I
But that
see.
movie does something where it's like, holy fuck, that just ties it everything beautifully together and just quits. Just like, no, this is
No,
the
I
end.
respect
This
that.
is, yeah, me too. And so she did that, which is one of my favorites of that year. Like ever since then. Then she did a movie called Arcane from 2019, 21 or 21, I think. Let me
Hmm.
quickly 21, sorry, 2021. So Arcane is a movie where a woman has a consensual relationship with a car,
A
and then
car.
yes, and then she might give a
Interest.
birth to this like car baby, and it's this like a neo punk kind of aesthetic where,
Hmm.
but it's not about women fucking a car. It's more about like what's love, what would we do, how do we forgive, and all that.
Mm. Hmm.
But it's like enwrapped in this casing where it's like you either love it or you hate it. This movie is very polarizing because many people are like, what the fuck is this? Why is she fucking this car? And then, look, I just thought this was a great movie. And she has a movie coming out this year called Alpha. I need to watch.
Mm.
Shane has already seen it.
Of course he has. Gosh darn it.
Yes, yeah, I like him, but I also hate him because he sees everything. God
I
fucking damn
know.
it! It should have
I
been me.
always check with him, you know? I'm always like, should I see this?
But yeah, so I checked with him about Alpha because I'm very excited, and he's like, I didn't like it or love it. Like so on
Mm.
Letterboxd he gave it 3 stars, which is not bad. So I'm like,
Mm.
oh, but no, I'm still hyped for that because like she and as my next to like Coralie Farge, like to me these two are what we need.
Mm.
Even if all their projects are not like 10 out of 10 movies, they are
Yeah.
swinging for the fences. They are trying to do
Mm-hmm.
something new. They are trying like bending different genres. They are talking about different things, and the way they go about them are so different. And another one, like another quick one, also a female for some reason. I don't know why. I'm just thinking of female directors. I'm not trying
That's
to
great,
be.
though. I feel like
No,
I
yeah,
don't know enough female directors, so that's great.
but I'm not trying. Like it just seems so performative now. But like no, just because like the reason I thought of her now because I was thinking about how they think of different things with this like new like the same genre but new thing.
Hmm.
There's a director called Celine Song who did Past Lives from 2 years
Oh,
ago,
yes. I've seen Past Lives.
and
I
that's a
love
movie.
Past.
Have you seen The Materialists?
No, but um I was like so not interested when I saw the trailer because of course I'm like,
See,
ew,
we might be
romance.
the same
But then I
person.
found out it was her, and I was like,
We look, Haley,
she's good.
we might be the same person because like look, Past Lives was one of my favorites of like 2 years ago, like
Yeah,
2023.
spectacular.
And when I saw the first trailer for The Materialists, and I was like, okay, she's decided to do a rom com that looks very typical rom com.
Hmm.
I will be there, but girl, please don't, please be different, please. And then I
Yeah.
actually went to see it in the cinemas.
Uh-huh.
It is a rom com, but the difference is it's a Celine Song rom com. So the things, how she talks about certain things and how she views certain characters, situations, and themes, it's so unique to her and her only that
Hmm.
you don't mind that you kind of know where this movie is going because the way she takes you on that journey is so uniquely hers.
Hmm.
I really, really enjoyed my time with that movie, and it's one of those movies where I follow quite a few people on Letterboxd, and it's one of the few times where, like, if you read certain comments, it's like, so obviously it's a Pedro Pascal, Dakota Johnson, and Chris Evans, right?
Yeah, right.
So when I read some of these people's reviews, it's like the obvious standout is Chris Evans. Then you read some other people. The obvious standout is Dakota Johnson. Chris Evans is kind of bad in this. Then you read the obvious standout is Pedro Pascal. Dakota Johnson is kind
Mm.
of bad in this. Then you need
Hmm.
nobody is good in this movie but this Celine song, and I'm like, I've never had this happen where like like people I trust is like one person
Mm.
says, "Oh yeah, these people are shit, but this is stand out." The other person says this, like there's like no, it depends who you are. You
It's like a
might resonate.
Rorschach test.
Yes,
Like
like you
you
might.
see what like yourself or something in
Yes,
it reflected
yes.
back at you.
So, but like with like those three directors, Celine Song, Julia, very French name I cannot pronounce, and Coralie Farge, like I will follow these whenever they want to go because they've
Mm.
served me so much great stuff. They like enticed me enough where I'm like, yes, I want to see everything you make, whether it's good or bad. So like those would be like up and comer. Well, maybe one of them is not really an up and comer, but like mainstream people to follow.
Yeah. I mean, past lives, I don't feel like a lot like I mean, Shane and I saw that, and the only reason I saw it was because he took me to
Mm-hmm.
like an independent movie theater and we saw it there. Like it didn't get a lot of hype, but I was so moved by that. And again, that's a love story, which normally I avoid that stuff, but like
Yeah,
the plague
yeah,
because I'm just not into it.
yeah.
But it it was so poignant. And again, I think anybody who sees that would view it differently depending on like
Mm-hmm.
your own romantic history, your
Mm-hmm.
own thoughts on love and relationships. And that makes it really powerful because it's not about right or wrong. It's
Yeah.
like this like journey and yeah. So anyway, I should watch The Materialist. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just because actors are famous doesn't mean they're not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Pedro Pascal. I think he's been in some good stuff.
Yeah. I love them all. Like all three, like I think proved themselves to be great actors. Like again, Dakota Johnson, she doesn't have the best hand at picking projects. I'll give you that. But
Mm,
like if you see some of her other stuff, not the mainstream stuff, like she actually knows how to act. She is not just a whips and chains excite me kind of 50 Shades girl anymore.
right.
So you know,
People can rise above things like Robert
100%.
Pattinson got beyond Twilight and he's like making really cool things.
Yeah, 100%. And like Kristen Stewart the same. And 50 Shades is
Hmm.
literally a fanfic of Twilight.
Yeah,
That's how
exactly.
it started. But no, yeah. So I cannot think of any other not as established director right now off the top of my head.
Those are
So
great. I mean, two of
yeah,
them I hadn't heard of at all, and
mm,
I forgot about The Materialist because
yeah.
I was like in denial. I was like, I should probably see that because she did it, but
Yes.
uh,
No, like honestly, like I was genuinely I was the same. When I was so hyped for the first trailer, and when I watched it, I was like, I'm much less hyped to watch this movie. But Celine Song, I'll do it for you because like I trust you. But
yeah,
like, girl, please don't do this to me. And now
right.
now she delivered. Like I think on a rewatch it's gonna play even better. Like I no, that was a interesting movie.
Hmm. Well, I will find an occasion to
Hmm.
watch it.
Hmm. Any other question for me?
That was the big one, and I
Okay.
really appreciate all of your recommendations because, it's there's a lot of stuff out there, but it's also like I mean, I just gave you a whole lot of context about what I'm interested in.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Shane knows me well. He can usually gauge how I'm gonna like something, but
Hmm.
the more the merrier because,
No, likewise. You gave me some stuff I had never even heard of. Which, like, I don't want to be that guy, but like, I even if I haven't seen a movie or TV show, I most of the time I've heard of them because like I'm into this like pop culture and movies and
right.
TV shows. But you gave me some stuff I've never even heard of, so I'm like, thank you for that. So
Glad to do it.
once again, Haley, thank you so much for your time. Like, I appreciate the 3+ hours you spent with me.
That was
If
great. Super fun.
yeah, not no complaints here at all. If people enjoyed our conversation, do you have any place where they can follow you?
Not really. I don't do this I mean
Yeah.
I have an Instagram, but I'm not I don't put out my hot
Mm-hmm.
takes there. So I
Fair.
would say, I would promote Shane's The Wasteland Reviewer because I'm on there pretty regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Mm-hmm.
because he indulges me a lot with things I want to talk about. Um, and you know what? If you ever are like, oh, I liked one of these things and want to talk about it again, I like talking about the stuff that I really enjoyed,
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure most people are like that. Some people I think are fine to talk about anything, but there's some stuff that like get me on that topic. Like, get me on a topic about poor things, and
Yeah,
that's an hour right
yeah.
there. Like,
See, maybe
easy.
you need to start your own podcast about that.
I don't know, man. It's maybe, but for now, I just bother Shane and now some of his mutual friends about it. So,
There's definitely no border here. So, like, thank you, honestly, thank you so much for your time. And yeah,
absolutely,
we'll plug Shane stuff as always because Shane Konto is the best, and that's why we love him.
absolutely.
And as for me, In Movies Lost on Letterboxd or here every other Friday. And this is the end. So yeah, this podcast is part of SPDM Crew Media, and special thanks goes to HiFlyer Creative for designing my logo. If you want to see what else they have happening, visit hiflyercreative.com. And until next time, bye bye.